What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Welcome to the Nightly Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. A ton of action in play right now. Sitting 6-4 in MLB. And going to be 0-1 in the 0-1 in the WNBA. I've only made one live bet. I shout out to TJ for moving on Argentina at plus 1980. Plus 1980, cashing that. What a monster TJ is. I've cashed one live bet, and I was fortunate. We do need luck. And I was very fortunate. There was two bets that I wanted. When I move on totals and something goes against me, I'd like to double down at a better number, at least 2 runs different from my opening bet. And I wanted the over in the Phillies-Reds game, and I wanted the under in the Yankees-Rays game. I get the Yankees Rays under 10.5. They score 4 runs in the 4th inning. So there's 9 runs scored after 4 innings. I want the Phillies Reds over after the 3rd inning of 0-0, but there's 3 runs that score in the top of the 3rd. So I can't move on that over. There's only 5 runs that have scored in the top of the 9th. So fortunate that I didn't move on that. And then I actually cashed that Rays under. So I was fortunate there, but I also did move on the plus 11.5 here for the Liberty with a minute and a half left, down 9. So that would help as well. Jays 3-0, class A. Hey, low key. That's big. That is big. Shout out to Josh Witt in the house. Josh, thank you for joining us. The Texas team total over 3.5 in the Dodgers money line day. The big ticket. Let's get that for you. Yes, O'Hearn did go off, and your Astros did win. And it's my guy, Tatsuya Amai, that was beautiful. It was great. Also, he was bleeding, had a blister, was bleeding, and he pitched right through it. Looked excellent. Nicholas Handy in the house. We got Mark Stasowski joining us from vacation in Myrtle Beach. Hope that's wonderful. Shout out to our guy, Mark Stasowski. Low key in the house. Agent Parlay ready to get to work. Minute and 26 seconds left here of Wings Liberty for that live action. I would like to cash this. It would make some of the pain go away. Nicholas Handy cashing on the Marlins. Where do we send Brian Wu a gift basket? The most predictable pitcher in Major League Baseball. I mean, he just continues to deliver for us. We do not need to spend extra time capping Wu. We back him at home. We fade him on the road. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Look, it's working. It's all working. Now, I would like to cash this live bet. Let's cash this live bet. And, Johnny Bender says, woo, more like an ATM. Oh, no. So the Wings just got to do it. I mean, aren't we so lucky, Johnny? I mean, isn't this honestly, it's been 3 years since we had a pitcher like this. And it was Tyler Mahle 3 years ago. It's been a long time, and I am very, very thankful. Extremely thankful. Dewan, Grand Slam play today, big cash. Let's cash. We on the roll, Dewan. I love it. So I would like to wait a few more seconds here, but I shouldn't. Stop being selfish. Let's get to work. I do have the Sky at plus 3.5. John Quell Jones dismissed the 3 that would have taken care of business, but offensive board up and at him. I think I'm going to cash this. Thank you, John Quell Jones. Fighting the good fight for us here. John Bender said, as a kid, we don't get off this merry-go-round. I like that a lot, John. We don't. Look, we're very, very fortunate. Like, these things don't happen often. We are very, very lucky here. Oh, and they fouled Stewie. Okay, so that should be. Oh, wait. 3 free throws awarded on the other side. That is not good. Let's see. I don't even. It's hard to tell what the hell's happening. Oh no, 2 free throws are ordered. Okay, I have a chance here. Just stop fouling. Give into the game here. Okay, we should get to work, and I should pretend that it's not important. This live bet. God, money talks, man. Money talks. But let's get to work. Let's get to work here. I will pretend this isn't going on. We have a lot of work to do. Ronnie Lofton in the house. What up, Ronnie, my man? Okay. So we're having a good day. Why don't we just do this very quick run through? Not great day, but a good enough day. We lost the Rays first 3, cashed the Rays first 5, cashed the Red Sox first 3, cashed the Red Sox first 5. We have the Blue Jays live. Cashed the Marlins first 3, cashed the Marlins first 5. We have the Cubs live. Cubs are looking good. And we cashed Detroit first 5 minus a half. So look, at that point we're 6-1, but it doesn't. We have the Braves. The Braves. O'Hearn took care of business. That was ugly. So there's a loss there. We lost the Tampa New York Yankees full game under 8. So there's a loss there. We pushed Houston Washington first 3 under 3. We are likely to lose this Philadelphia Cincinnati over 9. Very likely to lose that. We lost LA Texas first 3 under 2, and we have the full game under 7 live. So we are sitting here 6-4 with some action left remaining here. Let's just we don't need to score anymore, right? Let's just let the game go down to 0. Don't need to do anything here. Let's just let it go, shall we? All let it go together. Just let it go. Let's just let it go. Yeah, turnover violation, 11, 10, 9. This is a pretty, you're running nice when you're cashing these live bets by a hook. And also, I was very lucky that I didn't move on that over in Philadelphia. And we should be rigid. We deserve some luck once in a while, and we got it here. So we cashed that live bet. Mark Stowski says World Cup was crazy today. And Dewan says we cash and teamwork pub makes the dream work. Yes, Andre Dawson, the Hawk, your favorite player growing up, Josh, was a thing of beauty. Wasn't he a beast? And look, us Canadian Montreal Expos fans, we're not even mad that the Hawk wants to wear a Cubs hat in the Hall of Fame and doesn't like his Expos hat, wants a Cubs hat. We love the Hawk just the way he is. There is Sharpie in the house at Scooball Case where easy money inside gives you back above grounds. All I can ask for, though, I feel like we missed the monster. Let's get this money, Sharpie. We love having you in here. We got His Airness 93. The group is together. Sorry about me being selfish about cashing that live bet. God. Look, I'm a gambler. And there's always been this negative connotation towards that, and there shouldn't be. We are building our bankrolls. We are responsible gamblers, and we can fulfill our dreams through this right here. Shout out to Rod Zawakis has bet under the total in Dylan C. Starts when a total is 7 to 7.5. Done this record versus in the 2025 season, 22-6. Let's get into that game right off the hop. 3:45 p.m. Eastern. Toronto Blue Jays, San Francisco Giants. We're at Oracle Park in San Francisco, California. And speak of Rod Zawakis' thoughts on this game, I'm lockstep with him. I placed 2 bets on this game already. Let's roll here. So first, we'll take a look at the weather. The weather here at Oracle, minus 5% runs. So it's not very run suppressing. Minus 21% homers, plus 1% doubles and triples, and plus 7% singles. That's where we stand right there. Shout out to Light Cheese in the house. Dylan Cease versus Logan Webb. And I'm not waiting. And I'm also not going to pay a lot of money for a first 3 under 2. I took the first 3 under 1.5 at plus 120. I'm going for a score. I took the first 5 under 3.5 at minus 110. I'm going for scores. Sharpie says lineups pending, but the amount of swing and chase in Giants lineup is going to have me on Cease's strikeouts over. I think that makes a ton of sense. Let's start with our guy Dylan Cease, 5-4, 2.79 ERA, 1.18 WHIP. He's got a 2.88 expected ERA. And there's Rod Zwacky, 3 more outs in Chicago for the 10-star Boston Red Sox. Yes, that was another lockstep, Rod. Starting to really recognize when we are lockstep. I got that first 3 in the first 5 in the books. Feels good. Feels very, very good. But let's roll Dylan Cease. So Dylan Cease has been excellent. I mean, he's just been phenomenal. 2.79 ERA, 2.88 expected ERA, 137 strikeouts over 90 and third. Ass clowns earlier in the season were like, no, he's not going deep enough in the games. He's walking too many batters. If I could have just sharpened up a chopstick and just little slit right here close to their larynx, not kill them, but scare them, I would have happily done that. He's been phenomenal. He started looking a little bit disjointed mid-May. Then he went on the DL for a strained hamstring. He had 1 rehab start in Buffalo. Since then, he's been lights out. Just 1 bad start, 7-4 loss at home versus the Rangers on June 27th. That last start at the Mariners on July 3rd was a thing of absolute beauty. 7 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, 9 Ks, and 1 walk. What is the comparison to pitching in T-Mobile and pitching at Oracle? They're both run-suppressing ballparks that are going to work perfectly for our guy, Dylan Cease. There's Nasty Nate in the house, Red Sox smash. You're damn right. Well, then we have Logan Webb on the other hand. We have a sort of a similar story with Logan Webb. He went on the IL. He went on the IL due to right knee bursitis. So he was on the IL for 24 days, and he came back shoving. He came back delivering. He looked so good. 1 earned run over 4 1/3 in the thin air, Colorado. Then no earned runs over 7 innings at the Brewers. We know what the Brewers are doing with their sticks. 1 earned run over 8 innings at home versus the Nationals. 0 earned runs over 8 innings at home versus the Cubs. 2 earned runs over 8 innings at the Marlins. 0 earned runs over 7 innings at home versus the Braves. So he goes back to Colorado, and I think he's going to shove again against my man Feltner, Ryan Feltner. And what did Logan Webb do? He got lit up and smoked. 3 innings, 7 earned runs. It's gotten to the point that I mean, it sounds crazy. If there's no real issues with the pitcher, no arm issues, you're not concerned about velocity. When they get lit up and smoked, and you can ask Sharpie about this, the bounce back opportunities to back these pitchers you believe in are so glorious. So look, I have no problem that he allowed 7 earned runs over 3 innings. I have no problem that the little hand came out and slapped him in the face to understand how difficult it is to pitch at the major league level, especially in the thin air of Colorado. Now he gets to go home against the Blue Jays team that's not hitting. But let's get to the bullpens first. Giants bullpen, 5.21 ERA, 1.41 WHIP. Not very good. The Jays bullpen is a bullpen I trust. 3.17 ERA, 1.29 WHIP over the last 30 days. You can see the Giants bullpen trajectory. Now you can say the same thing about the Jays bullpen, but not to the same extreme. And then with the sticks, the Jays just aren't hitting. And, it's fair. It's very fair. And I like it when I like it when my friends kind of question my thought process or why I'm on a certain point. He had every right to question why I was on the Blue Jays today. I just thought we had advantages through 9 innings of baseball on the mound. And yes, we're not hitting right now. But if you have 9 innings of advantages on the mound, you're very likely going to win the baseball game. Now, I know that could be simplifying things too much, but I was very comfortable with it. Shout out to Nufflush Allen in the house. So 2 bets for me. Mikey, we're talking about your San Francisco Giants. 2 bets for me. First 3 under 1.5 at plus 120. I could have paid a lot for the 2. Didn't want the score. First 5 under 3.5 at minus 110. Sharpie says Cease this year is the best he's ever been. Fastball slider guy. His whole career is throwing changeup, knuckle curve to lefties 22% of the time. Most of his career, it's by most in his career by 13%. He is pitching very well. And Webb on the bounce back spot. I love this spot. The only thing that would make it better is if it was more run suppressing weather, which we don't have right now. I like this very much. Shout out to Viper NB in the house. All right, 2 bets, 1 game. We are in business and we roll on. Thank you guys for joining us on the Nightly Bag. Game 2 here, 6:35 p.m. Eastern. This could end up being a double dip. At this point, it's just a single bet. Orioles first 5. I could jump in and hit this again on the first 3, or I could decide to hit this on the full game. I wanted to talk it out before I doubled down here. Chicago Cubs 50-40, 23-21 on the road. Baltimore Orioles 42-49, 24-23 at home. We're at Camden Yards in Charm City, Baltimore, Maryland. Plus 9% runs, plus 8% homers, plus 10% doubles and triples, and plus 3% singles. We have offensive weather. Now, I think it's so crucial to, talk about what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, and all of that. And here today, now look, the Cubs are an out away from winning this game 5-2 in complete control. So shout out. Unfortunately, I didn't bet the Padres, but I did take the Jays with Do Not Flush, my man. Here's Ernest is saying the over on this one. So what did we do right on the Cubs-Baltimore game? Well, the plus 111 opening line on the Orioles made no sense. All of these spots where we are certain that every model in America is going to be on a certain side or a certain total, we are attacking the opposite because we don't think the books are idiots. We don't think the books make mistakes. Now, sure, sometimes they might make a mistake. I mean, I'm not hammering that. But for me, truly, we are figuring out when the market is being manipulated. And that's something very special. That's something very special that's taken years and years and years for us to kind of harness. And I believe we're harnessing it now. And we must continue to do that. Sharpie says Boyd was the better pitcher. I don't even care about that, honestly. And Boyd looked good. I just completely understood that plus 111 would lead everybody to the Orioles, and then the market moving towards the Orioles. It's the first time in my entire career that I've been able to look at market moves and point and laugh at them. I've always been intimidated by market moves and no longer. And we need to harness this and keep abusing this. Let's talk about Colin Ray, 6-5, 4.74 ERA, 1.43 whips, got a 5.49 expected ERA. Look, I'm a Colin Ray fan. He's a high character guy. Every bullpen in the world would like to have him there as their long man. Should he be a starting pitcher is the question that should be also asked. He's pitching pretty well. Last start July 1st, 2 earned runs over 5 innings, 23-3 win at home over the Padres. Start before that, 1 earned run over 5 innings at the Brewers. Start before that, no earned runs over 5 1/3 at home versus the Jays. He is pitching at a very high level right now. How long will that last? I'm not sure. Now, you can clearly see by the graphics that our guy Swigs on the 1s and 2s has put together. Johnny Bender saying Ray's splits are real, and they are. They are, but I don't put too much into them, honestly. That start now, he's a high character guy. So he goes back to Milwaukee, the team that didn't want to re-sign him. And he, pitches really well. You go back to the road start before that, or a series of road starts before that, they weren't as good. But Dean Kramer is the problem here. And the problem, because I've lost money on Dean Kramer, I have a negative ROI backing him overall. 3.18 ERA, 0.88 whip through just 17 innings. Now, this is like such a MO for Dean Kramer. He's been very consistent through his career. He 4.14 ERA, 1.26 whip, seemingly year after year after year. And he has been so good. 17 innings, 20 strikeouts, 3 walks. And he still allowed 5 home runs. He gets barreled. They're not nibblers over the first baseman. They're, 420-foot bombs against Kramer. So Kramer did not make the Orioles out of spring training. And then he had an okay start, a couple starts down in the minors. They called him up. 2 starts in the show, and he was just what he is, average. That first start, he allowed 2 earned runs, but 4 runs total, bumbling defense behind him, and he allowed 3 jacks. Then he strikes out 9 and doesn't walk about it. Then the next start from Saturday, April 18th, 3 earned runs over 6 innings, a quality start in a 4-2 loss at the Guardians. And then he gets shelved with a right quad strain. Well, we like when pitchers go on the IL for non-arm related issues. This was a non-arm related issue, and he looked very good in his rehab starts, especially his last rehab start. Then he comes in July 1st and pitches at home versus the White Sox. He shuts down the White Sox. And now this is his second start. When we get to the bullpens, the Orioles have a real bullpen edge. So I have to ask myself, what is it that I want here to double down? I have not tripled down on a game all year on a side or a total. Now I've bet 4 units, 2 on totals and 2 on sides, but I've not tripled down, and I don't want to. I don't think there's a need to. You really like a spot, you could double down on it. I don't think it needs to be tripled up. So here we have Orioles hitting 229, 707 OPS versus righties. They're not hitting them hard. You can see the big bullpen advantage from the graphics that Swiggy's hooked up. And then the Cubs are hitting righties harder than the Orioles are hitting righties. So my question still is, how should I handle this? Should I add the first 3 or should I add the full game? So why don't we ask Pinnacle? Can Pinnacle help me figure this one out? So let's go over to the Orioles-Cubbies game. We have the Orioles minus 122 full game and first 5 minus 119. So they're not telling us that there's an advantage here. Not telling us there's an advantage on the first 5, which could mean that Ray pitches well. Here, though, we've had a 10-cent move towards now 15 cents towards the Orioles. Minus 105 to minus 120. I think that's what I should trust. Dewan saying it sounds like a first 5 over 2. I really think that Kramer is capable of being a great pitcher. I always have. Now, the eye test, when you watch him in the eye test, you think he's very, very good. Very, very good. So, and let's not go into the next game yet. I'd like to talk to Josh Witt very quickly here. Mark Sasowski says, do you cap 6 days rest on any of these pitchers, or is that not something you put much weight into? I don't know what to do with that, Mark. You want you don't know if they're slightly out of their rhythm. I would prefer more rest than less rest. I would prefer 5-6 days rest. Mark, what I've found is when I get too caught up in the intricate details, it hurts me. It doesn't help me. If you notice what I'm using to, break down games, I'm simplifying things to some extent. Now, I have every single pitcher start written out by hand from every single pitcher in Major League Baseball. But it's pretty simple. Like, I kind of keep things pretty simple. I've often been weighed down by the analytics. So there's lots of so no, I don't put too much weight into it. I find when I start, like there was times when I would, if a pitcher was pitching poorly in the daytime, I would fade them in the day. It didn't work. Like when the intricate details, but I would prefer a pitcher have more rest than less, simply put. And then Josh Witt says, I need help to stop making parlays. So let's do this before we move on to the next game. Josh, it's very simple here. And there's no right answer or wrong answer. But before I went down to Costa Rica, I had $100 a day that I could bet with, $100 a day. So I was putting together 3-game parlays. I was going for bigger scores because I only had $100 a day. That was my bankroll, $100 a day. So I felt it was okay, at that point to go for bigger scores. Once I started taking this more serious, it didn't make sense to bet parlays. The juice will hurt you. And I started just making single bets. Now, there's still some times when I make parlays, but from watching Troy Torrance, make them. So there's a couple times I'll put 2-team parlays together. But it's just about how serious do you want to take this? Is this fun? Is this for fun? Because if it's for fun, bet your parlays and have fun. But if you're going to take this as serious as possible, focus all your energy on building a bankroll so that when, you have the opportunity to move down to Vegas and take this to the next level, or just take it to the next level wherever you are because of the legalized gambling, you're ready to do that. It's up to you. And there's no wrong answer. Okay, let's roll on here. But it's not going to be the first 3 at this point. So I'm going to put the question marks to the first 3, and then I'm going to put the asterisks on the full game. I think that's what makes most sense. All right, let's roll on. Next spot on the board for us here, Athletics Detroit Tigers. Athletics Detroit Tigers. We are at Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan. So we cashed on the first 5 minus a half in the Tigers game. The pitching change in game 1. I literally, up until 2:20 p.m., I was staring at it, staring at Zimmerman, staring at Mizorowski, staring at it. I was just felt paralyzed. And I'm sure you guys have felt the same way at times, gambling and capping. I felt paralyzed. I just couldn't move. And then I decided not to move on it. So I was thankful there that I didn't move on that one and that I moved on Scooball. Shout out to Dabby Cab in the house. Great to have you, Dabra the Magic Man. And Sharpie says, kind of bummed Scooball got to the 9Ks. He cashed for us, but was expecting 10 plus. And Rod Zawacki says 8-1 Boston. I love it. So here we go. Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan here. And I came very close to moving on this game, and I haven't yet. Plus 6% runs, minus 2% homers, plus 1% doubles and triples, and plus 11% singles in this spot. I'm really interested to break this down with you guys. This one here. So we have Jeffrey Springs. He's a very difficult pitcher to cap. I truly believe that the Sutter Health Park offense, and even last year when the Rays were playing their AAA ballpark, I think that we can understand the differences for these teams hitting there and then leaving. Like we fade the Rocky or any team that leaves Colorado. Now that hasn't worked, and I don't make that a black and white thing, but it's something we've done in the past, and that hasn't really worked over the last week and a half or 2 weeks or so. But here, I think that we can utilize these numbers because Springs is not a 5.79 ERA pitcher. He's got a 4.62 expected ERA, but we know that he's pitching a ton of the time in extremely offensive conditions, and we can use that when we break down Rockies pitchers. Another thing that we've been able to do is fade the Athletics offense on the road, and we've cashed a ton of unders with the Athletics despite their horrible bullpen because we know that their numbers are slightly steroid-esque numbers. And Jeffrey Springs handled that ballpark at Southern Health much better last year. I mean, last year, the 4.11 ERA, 1.21 whip, and he threw 171 innings. He's not doing that this year. He's already allowed 24 home runs in just 93 and a third. It's not going well for him. But again, we can look at his splits, and that's why this is so important. The graphics that Swiggy produces for us, you see the home numbers elevated, and the road numbers is, more normal here. Rod Zawacki says the Athletics have won each of their last 7 games against the Tigers following a road loss. Shout out to UNLV 94 in the house. So let's talk about his last start. He was at home versus the Dodgers. Very difficult park, difficult team to go up against. He allowed 6 earned runs over 5 1/3. The start before that was in San Francisco. We knew that would be a nice opportunity for him because he's in all these offensive situations. He goes 5 1/3, 3 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks. Start before that at home versus the Angels, 6 earned runs. Start before that at home versus the Rockies, 6 earned runs, 8 in total, but 6 earned. Start before that at home to the Brewers. Look at all these home starts, 5 earned runs over 5 innings. The start before that at the Cubs. I don't remember the weather conditions on June 3rd, so I can't speak on whether that was run suppressing or not. I know we capped that game. They all kind of mixed together at times. So he's not had any really strong starts. And if you go through his whole profile, you have to go back to the beginning of the year. And if you remember, Springs opened up the year incredibly good. His first 4 starts, he allowed 3 combined runs and then starts getting touched up. He's better than his numbers indicate. John Bender says Detroit should be favored, but this line is off. Has Detroit minus 137. Well, let's talk about Troy Melton. We're all big believers in Troy Melton here. 2.05 ERA, 0.80 whip. It's got a 3.07 expected ERA. He spent the first 2 months of the season on the shelf with the right elbow strain. He looked phenomenal in his rehab starts. He was going to be – now, he finished the year last year as a reliever, but the concern was they didn't want to put too many innings on his arm. He was capable of starting. Now, they were a really deep staff last year. Remember, they scuffled down the stretch, and the Guardians came back and took him out in game 163. So Melton came out May 24th. 1 earned run over 5 2/3, looked very good. Followed that up with another great start at the White Sox. And then the start where then another really great start at the Rays. I mean, and you know what the Rays do. They just keep attacking you. Then Tuesday, June 9th, 4 earned runs over 5 innings and a 10-4 win at home versus the Twins. Then he's a late scratch for his next start. His back felt abnormal. And what did he do after that? He's shoved in 3 straight starts. He is a beast. But I don't want to sell Springs too short. Let's go to the bullpens. Now we have another big advantage. Tigers bullpen, 3.15 ERA, 1.23 whip. Very strong bullpen. A's bullpen, 6.37 ERA, 1.59 whip. A poor bullpen, but they are in difficult conditions a lot of the time. Then we get to the sticks. The A's are 242, 749 OPS versus righties. Again, the steroid lifted because of the offensive ballpark in Sacramento. And the Tigers versus lefties, 250, but just a 692 OPS. I mean, just no power whatsoever. Rod Zwag says bet under the total in Jeffrey Springs road starts versus teams whose hitters strike out 7 or more times a game in the second half of the season. Under his record in his career, 15-3. Well, I want the Tigers. Let's get into the line history before we move on to the next game here on the board. The Tigers are sitting here at minus 155. Minus 155. And that's not the case. 12 minutes ago, they moved to minus 152. So a 3-cent move towards the A's. Interesting. That this is all bet online, as you guys know. I really respect the fact that they're first to the market, and we can debate which book do you want to talk about, but we're going to be doing some things with bet online here in the next little while, and I respect the book. So then here, and Dave Mason, who runs the sports side of it, runs the sports book, is just such a quality guy, such a great guy, and they still let you list pictures. I don't need to hammer this too hard, but I like it. So then we have the total here. We've had a 10-cent move to the over. Minus 115 to minus 125. 10-cent move towards the over. I don't know how much we need to put into that, but that's happened. And then when we talk about price difference here, price difference for first 5 in full game. The Tigers are minus 156 right now at Penny, and first 5 they're minus 158. So now the question is, the books aren't tipping their hand. What is the best bet to make? Now, Rod, of course, the great Rod Zwacky likes the under here. It says 3-4, 4-2. Tigers get the win here. It says the average score of these games with Springs team 2.9, opponents 3.7. So is the under the way we want to attack this? I want to back Melton. Maybe it's just the Tigers' full game, or maybe it is the under. Now, I do get caught up in these market moves when I don't think. I mean, this was just put at an even total. I don't think that the opener was to put us in the wrong direction. But in John Bender would, I think, agree with this. This number is huge for the Tigers. Enormous. Huge. This is a team that's 2 games over 500 at home against a team that's 1 game over 500 on the road. They're playing against a team with a better record than them. Why are they such huge favorites? I think it's the opening line on the side that tells us what we need to know about the Tigers. Now, we've seen a 3-cent move towards the A's. Do we want to wait? Maybe it'd make sense to wait. But I want the Tigers. I want them full game, and I'll have to bet them -1 because it's just too expensive. I mean, what they're doing is in a game where Rod's Wacky believes that there's very low volatility, they're pricing you out of the Tigers' money line. I think we can all agree on that. The books are pricing us out on the Tigers' money line, forcing a situation where we'd have to bet a -1. And I think that should be what we focus on. And that is going to be what I focus on. They're not saying that there's a bigger advantage first 5 than full game. They're just saying it's very expensive if you want to back the Tigers. Maybe that means it should be a double down, first 5 -0.5 and full game -1. So I need to sit with this for longer. I want the Tigers. I also, and I believe that you guys should do this as well, is copy and paste. Copy and paste. These angles that Rod Zawacki are dropping are very, very important for our capping. The plan that you guys have is very important to my capping. I really want to know what you guys think of this spot. John Bender says we're 25 cents off, not worried about the 3 cents. Wait and check the market. Oh, no, I agree. No, it's just about due diligence. And the due diligence is saying that if we wait a little bit, we might be able to get a better line. I think we need to focus on the opening line here. And that's what I'm going to focus on. So how much do I invest? I mean, these are the questions I'll have to ask in the dark. Okay, let's roll on. Next spot on the board, 6:40 p.m. Eastern, the Atlanta Braves, Pittsburgh Pirates. Braves 52-36, 25-19 on the road. Pirates 46-45, 23-22 home. We're at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. What a beautiful ballpark that is. Shout out to Swiggy and Justin McKelvey and Tuate Latte, if you aspire to elate our friend from back in my days in Costa Rica. And is the first 5 the same price? Mark Stev's saying, yes, it's the same price. Now, we know that there's more VIG involved in first 5s. So, it's arguable. But, yeah, pretty much similar. They're not saying there's an advantage in either one. Let's talk about PNC here. PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Let's talk about the situation here. We got plus 5% runs, minus 3% homers, plus 18% doubles and triples, and minus 2% singles. Shout out to Jay Rowe in the house, man. Let's get it. Like to have Jay Rowe run with us. Let's roll. Grant Holmes, we have 5-4, 3.83 ERA, 1.35 whip, 4.58 expected ERA. If I was a general manager of a team in any sport, I would be interviewing psychologists heavy. And the ones that I like the most, I would want them talking to my players. And Grant Holmes feels like a pitcher who would be using this psychologist multiple times a week. Grant Holmes needed a mental and physical reset. Grant Holmes wants to be going deeper into games. And I respect that. That's important to him. And he wasn't able to do that. He was walking too many batters. He was fed up. So he said, I need a mental and physical reset. I respect that he made that decision. He was struggling. He had a whip of 1.93 over the 4 previous starts before he took the mental and physical reset May 1st. And remember, he's a guy who could have had the Tommy John surgery. He could have had the brace surgery. He could have done a bunch of things. He suffered a partial UCL and a flexor tendon tear in his right elbow at the end of 2025, and he didn't want to have surgery. Again, I respect that too. Look, I this is a pitcher I respect here. You can see his splits. This guy is a gamer. You can put him in any ballpark in the world, and he's going to give you his all. Maybe his all's not good enough. So he comes back from the mental reset. He looks okay. Okay, 2 runs over 4 innings looks okay. Next start, he has his first great start of the year at home versus the Red Sox, shuts them down, goes 6 strong, doesn't allow a run, walks 1 batter. He follows that up with another strong start. Yes, he allows 2 solo shots, 2 runs, but strikes out 10 in a 2-0 loss at home versus the Nats. And then he only goes 4 2/3 in the start. Then he shuts down the Jays at home. And then all of a sudden, he can't go deep in the games again. 3 2/3 in a loss at the White Sox. He lost 3 earned runs. 2 innings. He allows 3 earned runs at home versus the Giants. 4 2/3, he allows 1 earned run, and he walks 5 batters. And what do they say about our friend Grant Holmes? You're not going to start anymore. We're going to put you in a pen. So then his next start, he is the primary, and he pitches really well. He pitches well. Now, he only goes 4 innings, but he doesn't walk about it. He only allows 1 hit. He's doing whatever's asked of him. Then he gets the next start due to an injury. July 3rd, he gets a start. He allows 1 earned run over 5 innings at home versus the Mets. He's an okay pitcher. He's a mediocre pitcher. He's going to give you his all. It might not be good enough, and you might not want to invest in him. Then we have Jared Jones. Jared Jones, the highly thought of prospect with the ceiling up in the clouds. He underwent UCL surgery last May. He looked excellent in his rehab starts. And then what happens? He comes in the show and he gets lit up and touched immediately. 5.28 ERA, 1.38 whip through 29 innings. He's walked 11 batters through 29 innings. The K to walk ratio isn't where he wants it, 31 Ks and 11 walks. Yeah, no, Flush. It was a fun cap, man. It was a fun cap when we're all lockstep together. So he comes into the show and he allows 5 earned runs over 4 1/3, and the line moves heavily towards him. Then the next start, the line moves heavily towards him, and he has an okay start. 5 innings, no earned runs. Who would have thought that we'd be another 5 starts after that, and that's the longest he's gone in a game right now is 5 innings. So we go back to that last start, July 2nd, 1 earned run over 4 innings and a 6-1 win at the Phillies. His last home start, he allowed 4 runs in total, 3 were earned over 4 2/3. I just don't know if he's a guy we want to invest money in. I mean, at some point, he's going to be a monster. It certainly doesn't feel like it's right now. Let's talk about the bullpens. We have a big advantage with the Braves bullpen. They were an exhausted bullpen today. So the only good thing about O'Hearn having 10 RBIs was that the Braves were able to slow down, to rest their high leverage arms. So we know they did that today. And we know that their bullpen, despite these elevated numbers over the last 10 games, have been much better than the Pirates season long. If the Pirates want to put any kind of consistency together with their bullpen, we can change that tune, but there's no reason to change it now. Then we go to the sticks. Again, the Pirates have a huge advantage here. 292, 841 OPS. They are absolutely raking, and tonight was no different. The Braves, 224, 625 OPS. You can see that their numbers have improved slightly or quite a bit over the last 5 games, but it's not enough to change a month long of stats here. Sharpie says Jones has been capped at 75, coming back from injury, going over 1 time. Says a guy who's trying to understand how to control the new velocities showed up with this year. In due time, he will be an ace. Yeah, I think that's very well put. Let's take a look at the line history here. Take a look at the line history. We have no movement on the 8.5. Sitting here minus 113 to the over. Not a cent move. Just sitting there at 8.5 minus 113 to the over. And then my worst nightmare when the site. Oh, there we go. God, I just don't have time. I'm talking too much for this site to mess with me. We've had a 5-cent move towards Jared Jones. This opened up at minus 110. It's now minus 115. And then we'll go to Pinnacle. Take a look at Pinnacle. The price difference. Of course, the all-important price difference from full game and first 5 here in this Braves-Pirates spot. We have Jared Jones at minus 118. Sorry, I should say the Pittsburgh Pirates at minus 118. And then we get to the first 5, minus 130. 12 cents difference. Wow. That's a bit of a surprise. To put that into perspective, the Braves are in plus 107, and then first 5 plus 111. Now, it's not a lot, but it's something. Rod's Wax says, bet on Grant Holmes on the run line when the money line's plus 125 to minus 125. Says Holmes' team record during the 2026 season, 6-0. Average score of these games was Holmes' team 4 and the opponent's 1.7. 1.7. Well, now we know that. Well, I should say I believe that the bullpen advantage is real. And the Braves rested all their high leverage arms and they'll be ready to go. I think that if we wanted to, yes, Johnny Bender, yes, that's exactly it. 12 cents more for Pitt first 5 than full game for first 5. Sharpie says there's a difference in starting pitching. Jones is number 2. Holmes is a 5 at best. I think that's fair as well. Now, Jared Jones just hasn't delivered for us or for anybody or for him or for his team. But they're saying that there's an advantage first 5 with Jared Jones over Grant Holmes. And I agree. I think Rod Zwacky can still cash with the Braves. I think anybody back in the Braves can still cash with them because of their bullpen advantage. But I think that the books are tipping their hand and that there is an advantage with the Pirates first 5 with Jared Jones on the hill at home, even though he's had a disappointing season thus far. And I was not expecting to end up on that. Enough Flush Allen wants the Braves. And of course, it's I think he would say, well, of course, it's because they got destroyed today. And he likes to zag after the zig. That's totally valid. I'm interested in the Pirates' first 5 innings. I'm going to put that here. This was not on the itinerary, but itineraries change. Pittsburgh first 5 is what I'm interested in. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board for 6:40 p.m. Eastern, New York Yankees, Tampa Bay Rays. We're at the Trop, St. Petersburg, Florida. Yankees now 49-41, 26-21 on the road. The Rays 53-35, 32-12 at home. We've seen the pictures of the outside of the new stadium. They're going to show us the inside tomorrow. The stadium looks fucking gorgeous. It looks so gorgeous. The only comparison from the stadium that they're building would be what they're doing in Vegas. They both kind of have some similarities. Good God, this is. I mean, imagine going from the Trop to this new stadium that looks so beautiful. So let's roll. Oh yeah, 12 cents more than Pitt William. Yes, Johnny, we're on the same side there, my man. Okay, so let's roll here. Garrett Cole versus Shane McClanahan. Let's start with Cole. 4.01 ERA, 1.20 WHIP, 3.42 expected ERA. I'll be the first to tell you honestly, and I think that I'd like it doesn't when you are looking for a capper to scorecast with you and break down these games and give you their ideas and angles. I'm sure it sucks when somebody says, "Look, I don't know," but there's so much bullshit in this industry. Whether it is from touts trying to sell everything, sneak into your window and steal your wallet, or it's lying about records and all this stuff, or it's about having an angle and a belief in every single game because it's content. It's writing articles without posting your record. Look, I could go on for days. It is written now. I didn't have until I've read a book recently, I didn't have the confidence to say, look, I don't know. And the Talib, the author, when he said I don't know, when he was asked to predict something, he said, look, I don't know. He was fired. So people don't want to hear it, even if it is honest. Look, I don't know what Garrett Cole is going to give you game in and game out right now. But it's not elite. We know that. He's not shoved one time. We know that. He came out of Tommy John, and he had 2 starts. We hadn't seen him in forever, and he looked excellent. But now, after those 2 starts where he looked very good and didn't allow a run, now we've had 6 starts of mediocrity or below average pitching. This bothers him to no end, I'm sure. Sharpie says, I'm worried about Cole's changeup, which uses 21% of the time to lefties. Rays run 7 lefties. Revolutions per minute are up 400 on a pitch you want low spin. He says, which is not a good thing on that pitch, has led to worst zone contact and chase contact, the worst zone contact chase contact of his career. He doesn't look good. Now let's talk about Shane McClanahan. So we don't see Garrett Cole all of 2025. We don't see Shane McClanahan all of 2024 and 2025. And that's a long time. And he starts slowly. And then after 4 starts, he starts pitching very well. He has 4 straight starts where he doesn't allow a run. And we're like, look at the old Shane McClanahan is back. There was a time when you'd only have 1 or 2 lefties that could throw with the velocity that Shane McClanahan has. Also, you can see by the graphics, his home ERA is spectacular, shoving at home. So he has these 4 starts where he doesn't allow a run. Then he gets touched up for 4 earned runs, and he bounces right back. 2 really strong starts in a row. And then he has 2 straight starts where he gets hit. Saturday, June 6th, 4-3 loss at the Marlins. He gets touched up for 4 runs and 8 hits. And then again, there's no bounce back start in Los Angeles against the Angels, which I expected a bounce back start. He didn't give us one. 4 earned runs, another 8 hits in 4 innings. So he had 9 innings. He allowed 8 earned runs and 16 hits. He comes back and faces the Dodgers. Again, he only goes 3 2/3. The next start, he allows 6 runs. Now, only 2 were earned, but it was another poor pitching performance versus the Royals. And so what do the Tampa Bay Rays brass, which we respect so much, they give him extra rest. And shout out to Spooner. Like Mark Stosowski, Spooner's on vacation with his family right now. Spooner sent me this interview, and they were talking about McClanahan, and they're giving him extra rest and talking about how his velocity was higher than it's ever been. He's throwing 99 right now. He just needed a little bit of extra rest. And what's he do? He comes out and shoves at the Royals. Absolutely shoves. So I think there's a big advantage with McClanahan over Cole. Is Cole capable of greatness? I don't know. He's certainly not showing it. So then we go to the bullpens. Yankees bullpen best in the league. 2.17 ERA, 1.06 whip. Rays bullpen very strong, but Yankees bullpen best in the league. Then we go to the sticks. The Rays will keep attacking you and attacking you and attacking you. They hit righties, 273, 793 OPS. The Yankees versus lefties are nowhere to be found. They are nowhere to be found. So I made 2 bets, and one was extremely expensive. I bet the Rays first 3 money line. I don't want, I'll almost never, I think I bet 1 or 2 in my life taking a -0.5 on I'll only take +0.5. So it cost me -140 on the Rays first 3 money line. And then I doubled down on the Rays first 5, -126. Rays double down for me. Rod Zweig says the Rays have won each of their last 12 games against AL East opponents following a win here. Following a win. Sharpie says if you look up Gamer, it's this man McClanahan. He puts way too much on himself to have great games, beats himself up on his bad games as he expects greatness here. Look, I love this spot. I love that they gave McClanahan the extra rest. He's going to throw 99 tomorrow, and he's going to shove here. Now, Mark Sosowski says, I agree with the starting pitching edge. Do we have the first 5 pricing to justify the move? Very, very valid. Very, very valid. So let's take a look at what we're seeing. Now, I had 6 cents difference, or 7 cents when I moved on it. But let's take a look at what we're dealing with here. The Rays are now -120. First of all, no, it was 6 cents, -126. The Yankees here are +109. And first 5, they're +108. Garrett Cole, first 5, +108. Look, I don't need that much. I don't need that much because Garrett Cole's name still carries a ton of weight. I don't need that much. Again, I need something. If this wasn't 6, if this was -120, -120, but I expect that we show up tomorrow and it's a bigger line. Now, I have some really fun first 5s coming up where we have massive lines and massive differences, which I know we all love. It gives us comfort. Maybe this isn't a big enough move, but it's enough for me, man. So Rays first 3, Rays first 5, and I can't wait to watch the game. I love the AL East, so I'm looking forward to watching the game. Shout out to my man Rocky Menichetti in the house. Unc Rock. Man, I had the chance to rock with Rocky Menichetti, and he is, man, everything you'd expect from a low bagger. We need Rocky. He's a Northern California capper. Rocky, we need you at Pub 6, man. I want everybody else to know the legend of Rocky Menichetti. Okay, let's roll on double down for me. Rays first 3 and Rays first 5. Next spot on the board here, 6:40 p.m. Eastern. Seattle Mariners 47 and 44, 20 and 24 on the road. Yeah, enough flesh remembers Rocky, of course. Against the Miami Marlins, 49 and 42, 28 and 17 at home. We're at Lone Depot Park in Miami, Florida. We have George Kirby going up against Tyler Phillips. Now, you guys know I'm a big George Kirby fan. I'm a big George Kirby believer. It doesn't always get me paid, but I really like him. I thought it was very easy for us to give him excuses last year when he missed the first 2 months of the season due to injury. He came on late. He looked very good in the playoffs, and he's a pitcher that I believe in. last start for George Kirby, and we can go deeper. He's had 4 straight quality starts. And his last start was a thing of beauty. 8 innings, 2 earned runs, 7 Ks, 1 walk, and a 6-2 win at home versus the Angels. Now, do we want him at home or over the road? The stats say no, but I still don't quite believe that. I still kind of want him at home, even though his numbers don't, tell us that. They tell us that he's been pitching much better on the road. Regardless, I want George Kirby in my corner. Tyler Phillips, 3.52 ERA, 1.38 WHIP. He's got a 4.80 expected ERA. Here's a pitcher that I don't quite know what we're going to get game in and game out. And honestly, I don't know if the Marlins know what they're going to get from him. This is a phenomenal starting rotation when you don't include Tyler Phillips. His last start, 3 1/3, 5 earned runs, 12-5 win at the Athletics. That was an okay start. It was okay. It's a tough place to pitch. Start before that, 2 earned runs over 7 1/3 at the Cardinals. Now we're talking. That's a good start for him. The last time he was at home was Monday, June 22nd. He allowed 2 earned runs over 6 innings. With Phillips, his home numbers are very, very good. The sample size is so short, so small. I don't put too much into it. We don't have a Vegas bash set up yet, Rocky. We don't have one set up. We are in discussions for Vegas and Atlantic City. So, yes, I see that Tyler Phillips has been good at home. But what kind of sample size are we talking? A lot of those really nice performances were before he was stretched out. He was coming out of the bullpen. His first, chunk of innings when he got stretched out was May 24, 3 2/3, doesn't allow a run at home versus the Mets. Then he is at home versus the Rays as a primary, and they touch him for 3 earned runs over 4 2/3. Then he shuts down the Diamondbacks on June 11th at home, but the Diamondbacks don't hit. Their sticks are just gone cold. Then we have that home start against the Rangers, 2 earned runs over 6 innings. So he was pitching better out of the bullpen than he was as a starter. But his numbers are still good as a starter, don't get me wrong. Rod Zawacki says, bet against Seattle in road games on the money line versus a team with a very good bullpen whose whip is 1.250 or better. Seattle's record during 2026 season, 0-6. Let's talk about these bullpens. The Mariners' bullpen is not pitching well right now. 4.90 ERA, 1.42 whip over the last 30 days. And the Marlins' bullpen, 4.13 ERA, 1.19 whip, been pitching very well. And then we go to the sticks. Who would have thunk that the Marlins would have this kind of advantage? Just a massive, massive advantage. It's shocking. 286, 851 OPS last 30 days for the Marlins. They're just erupting. And then the Mariners are not hitting 225, 640 OPS, and they've gone quiet of late. Rod Zawacki says, bet against George Kirby on the money line against NL East opponents. Kirby's team record since the 2024 season, 0-6. Shout out to Robert Cherry. Shout out to Top Set. Hate to hear that, Top Set. We'll get that back for you. This is a beautiful card. So we have negative angles about backing Kirby, but I'm interested in backing Kirby. Lines are just starting to come out. My bookie has come out. Heritage has now come out. Heritage has the Mariners at minus 134. So it's very slightly different than my bookie. And then on the total side of things here, we have an 8.5 from my bookie. Heritage hasn't brought out a total yet. So then let's get into if this wasn't up at Pinnacle before. So let's see if it's up now at Pinnacle here. Sorry. And we have, is it up yet? No. So we're still waiting on Pinnacle to put out a line. Look, his Aaron is saying Kirby first 3. No, I would take first 5. I want lineups to see Phillips a second time. The longest that Phillips has ever gone is 6 innings. He's done that twice in his career. He's gone 5 innings twice in his career. All these other performances, 4 2/3, 2 innings, 3 2/3, 4 innings, they don't really want him there. So John Bender thinking of Miami. We have angles for Rod Zawacki that take him to Miami. But I want Kirby against Phillips. And I think that the line will tell the story. So, if the line comes out and the Mariners are, minus 137 full game and they're minus 152 first 5, we know what to do. Take the Mariners first 5 -1/2. So I'm still interested, very interested in the Mariners. I want them first 5. I don't want them full game. And we'll go from there. Sharpie says Mariners run 7 lefties. Phillips allows a higher batting average against OPS and slugging by a lot. There, great stuff from Sharpie. So I want the Mariners first 5 -1/2, but I'm going to be patient and I want to see a price difference. Again, if there's no price difference, if the books are telling me that there's an advantage with Phillips first 5, I will heed their advice. I won't bet Phillips, but I'll get off of Kirby here. Nut Flush is working on Seattle team total under, but not done yet. So we roll on. Next spot on the board, I have bet Astros, Washington Nationals, Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. We have Spencer Arrighetti on the hill against my guy, Foster Griffin. Weather-wise at Nationals Park tomorrow, plus 8% runs, plus 13% homers, plus 10% doubles and triples, and even for singles. Oh, Mr. Heat, it did, man. It did, buddy. It did. It did almost happen, man. So let's go. Talk about Spencer Arrighetti. Now, it was easy to have a good read on Arrighetti. Look, we only saw him in 7 starts last year because of injuries. Then he gets destroyed in spring training. And then he goes to Sugarland, doesn't make the team out of spring training, and just shoves. So they bring him up pretty quick. Bring him up April 15th. And I was telling you guys, it was a different Spencer Arrighetti. Hair flowing, a massive movement on his off-speed pitches. Looked like a bulldog. Looked like nobody could hurt him. Like he knew he was going to strike everybody out. And he just was spectacular. I mean, we're talking over the course of his first 8 starts, he allowed more than 1 run one time when he allowed 2 earned runs. I mean, he was just lights out. I mean, he was just so good. Then regression waits for no man. Wednesday, June 3rd, gets taken for 4 earned runs in 4 innings at the Pirates. The first sign. The second sign, actually, it wasn't a quality start because he walked 4 batters, but he allows 3 earned runs over 6 innings at the Angels. Then June 14th, 4 earned runs over 6 innings, 4-0 loss at the Royals. And then June 20th, 6 earned runs over 6 innings. I told you guys, I was watching. I was like, the Bulldog's gone. It's not here. He doesn't look like he's walking on the mound like, I'm just going to work and just going to do the best I can. And it wasn't working. It was not working. The start after that, June 26th, 8 earned runs over 3 innings. He allowed 6 home runs over those 2 starts, June 20th, June 26th. Then we show up last Friday, and the books are telling us that Arrighetti's going to shove. They're telling us he's going to shove against the Rays. Look, when the books tell you something, you either join them or you stay off. I made the mistake of staying off. He was great. 1 earned run over 6 innings. It was a 3-1 loss at home versus the Rays, but he was excellent. So what the hell is he going to do now? Honestly, your guess is as good as mine. There are certain things in a game where we're going to be guessing. And there's certain aspects of a game that we really have conviction on. And there's aspects in this game that I really have conviction on. So let's move on to Foster Griffin, who started with Yo Murray in the Japanese League last year. 30-year-old rookie, best pitcher on the Nationals, 2.87 ERA, 1.04 whip. He's got a 4.05 expected ERA. Whether he's home or on the road, he's shoving. And he had his hiccups. He looked very good out of the gate. And then he had his hiccups mid-May. 9 earned runs on May 14th, 15-1 loss at the Reds. Then May 19th, 5 earned runs over 5 innings and 9-6 win at home versus the Mets. Then he turns it on again. And he has been so good. In his last 6 starts, he's not given up more than 1 earned run in any of them. He has given up exactly 1 earned run in 5 of them and no earned runs in 1 of them. He's going 6 or 7 or 7 1/3. The last start he only went 5, but he had a nice lead and they let him go. So what do I know? We talk about, I'm like, well, look, I don't really know what Arrighetti's going to give you now after he had a good start. There's been times where I've known exactly what Arrighetti was going to do. We were on him, then we started fading him, and then the market told us he was going to pitch well, and he did. I stayed off that game. Now Arrighetti's kind of a question mark. What do I know? Well, first off, I know the Astros have a massive bullpen advantage. We haven't really seen it in the series thus far, but we know that's the case. Astros bullpen over the last 30 days, 2.27 ERA, 1.03 whip. That's bullpen 5.74 ERA, 1.57 whip. So we know that. So, but that's not helping me because you guys already can tell that I really like Foster Griffin. So then we go to the sticks. And this is where we have our angle. The Astros are not hitting lefties at all. 202, 579 OPS. They're not hitting them at all. It gives us a massive advantage here because the Nats are raking righties. This isn't the Nats from earlier in the year that were destroying lefties and not hitting righties. Now they're annihilating righties. It gives us a wonderful opportunity here. A wonderful opportunity. Rodswag says bet on Foster Griffin on the money line when pitching in night games. Griffin's team record during 2026 season 10-0. Says bet against Spencer Arrighetti on the money line versus teams who strand 6.9 or less runners on base per game in the second half of the season. Arrighetti's team record since 2024 1-15. Top Set says he likes the Nats first five. Well, watch how much you're going to like them after you hear this. The Nats are minus 129 full game, and first five they are minus 146. Ooh, 17 cents different on the first five. Now, we know that part of that is predicated on the fact that the Nats have a bad bullpen and the Astros have a great bullpen, so there's a bullpen advantage. But yes, sign me up. You're going to make the Nats too expensive first five? I want things to be expensive. Nationals first five minus a half at minus 105 for me. Nats first five minus a half at minus 105. Look, we love price differences. First fives in full game. We love them. And there's another one coming up that you're going to like as well. Not Flush says, I feel like this total is high, but I think the Nats are going to soak up most of it. I guess we didn't even go over the line history in the game. I was so caught up and so confident in my action. The 8.5 minus 125 to the over is now a 9 minus 115 to the over. So yes, they think there's going to be volatility, which means we should have some comfort taking the minus half. And then on the money line, the Nats open up at minus 130. They're now minus 138. And we roll on. Next spot on the board, 7:10 p.m. Eastern. Philadelphia Phillies 50-40, 25-19 on the road. Cincinnati Reds 41-48, 20-24 at home. We're at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Ohio. Let's get into the weather at Great American Ballpark. Very offensive as it was today. Not quite as offensive. Remember, today was around 18 to 20% plus runs. Tomorrow or Wednesday, it's plus 13% runs, plus 21% homers, plus 8% doubles and triples, and minus 3% singles. And we don't have pitcher listed here for the Phillies, but we all expect Chase Burns here for the Reds. But now, I guess, let me go over to the books and see if they don't even have Chase Burns listed now. And they don't even have this game up. Wow. No one has this game up. So let's not put too much time here into this. I'll just tell you my thought process. I think that Chuck King, old Charles King, will be making his major league debut here. He had 3 starts for AA Reading, 5.54 ERA, 1.77 WHIP. Didn't look very good. Went up to AAA Lehigh Valley, pitched in, has 12 appearances, 11 games started. And there's our guy Spooner in the house. I knew Mark Zasowski and Spooner would be trying so hard to, yes, it's a family vacation. I'm so excited to be here with the family. No, we're not going to talk baseball. And then every hour that goes past, I'm like, I need baseball. What the hell's going on with baseball? I hope you're having a great trip, Spoons, my man. Okay, so Chuck King, Lehigh Valley, 4.55 ERA, 1.20 WHIP. 4.54 expected ERA. Now, Chuck King doesn't have nasty stuff, but he gets a lot of soft contact. Chuck King, this guy's been around. I think he's 28 years old right now. Still hasn't made his major league debut, and he gets soft contact. So, AAA Lehigh Valley, he's allowed 4 home runs or 57 1/3. In his 13 innings in AA Reading, he didn't allow a home run. We expect it's Chase Burns, but it might not be. Chuck King we thought was going to be the question mark. We thought for sure it'd be Chase Burns, but maybe it's not going to be. What have we seen from Chase Burns? Well, he's not been as dominant the last 2 starts. Over his last 2 starts combined, we have 12 innings. He allowed 13 hits, 7 earned runs, 2 home runs. Now he still has 14 Ks and 2 walks. He's a fucking beast. It's been so easy backing Chase Burns first 5. So easy. And this is not the Phillies trying to find their best spot for their prized possession. No, they're desperate. They're bringing Chuck King up because they need a spot start. So if it is Chase Burns, I think that we can have now that Chuck King will be okay, but I do think that because he gets off contact, he can go deep into games. But look, is this an opportunity for Chase Burns to bounce back? That last start was at Milwaukee, allowed 2 earned runs over 6 innings. Milwaukee will keep coming at you. The start before that was at the Pirates. Who's hitting righties harder than the Pirates? One team, the Minnesota Twins. So he's going to come home. The last time he was at home, so he's had 3 straight road starts. Last time he was at home, he doesn't allow a run over 5 innings versus the Mets. The start before that at home, 2 earned runs over 6 innings against the Royals. The start before that, he's had so many road starts, no earned runs. We have to go back to May 14th. May 14th, he said 3 home starts. So if it is Chase Burns, I think we can comfortably back him. We also have a bullpen advantage with the Reds, something we haven't had for a long time. The Reds bullpen's been such trash. And then the Phillies hit righties so much harder than the Reds do. But again, Chase Burns can mitigate that. So we will wait and see who is pitching and make our decisions then. Let's move on. 7:10 p.m. Eastern. Perfect time for Spooner to be in the chat because we could talk about Stephen Kolek. Now, again, when you're going to like different cappers for different things. And some cappers with their models and their analytical brains can take you to great places. And some cappers, were raised by shrinks and like the psychological factors in play. And there's heavy ones here with Kolek. And now we know exactly what's going on. So let's talk about Stephen Kolek. And he is going up. We assume, now they haven't confirmed that. We're pretty sure Kolek is going to pitch, going up against Christian Scott again. But let's talk about the weather here in Citi Field, because I do believe it's Kolek versus Scott. Citi Field in Queens, New York. Let's see what we are dealing with. Minus 3% runs, plus 10% homers, minus 16% doubles and triples, and minus 5% singles. So Kolek missed the beginning of the season with an oblique injury. He looked very good at AAA Omaha through 4 rehab starts. He was going to be part of the starting rotation if he wasn't hurt. It wasn't like he didn't make the team out of spring training. And his first 2 starts aren't very good. He gets hit up. And then his next 2 starts are brilliant. The first one, 6 1/3, no earned runs at the Cardinals. And then the next start was the piece de resistance. Complete game, shutout, 5-0 win at home versus the Mariners. Now, he threw a season-high 108 pitches. This was something that Turnbuckle Tommy was talking about. And I had just screwed this up with Christopher Sanchez when he pitched a high and Mattingly said, we're going to keep a close eye on him. We're going to pull him if we need to. I bet Christopher Sanchez under outs, and I faded him. I think I took the opposition first 5+ half, and Sanchez shoved again. It was part of his Oral Hershiser-esque shutout string. So Turnbuckle Tommy said, look, he just threw 108 pitches. He hadn't thrown more than 94 in either of his first 3 starts. I had that note but the Sanchez, again, it's the cognitive biases that hurt us more than anything else in gambling. If I hadn't lost that money on Sanchez, I would have faded Kolek in the next start. I didn't. And I told myself I would never make that mistake again. When somebody has a outlandish number of pitches and it's by far their season high, they must be faded in the next game. I digress. Friday, May 29th, he gets touched up for 4 earned runs, 6 runs in total over 5 innings, then 9-1 loss at the Rangers. Then he bounces back, 2 earned runs in 7 innings, and a 5-2 win at the Reds. Little did we know at the time that his wife was pregnant. And his wife gave birth to a daughter during this time. His daughter, Faye. So his daughter was born on June 25th. So again, let's go through this trajectory. Wednesday, June 3rd, he has the bounce back after. So let's go back. May 23rd, throws 108 pitches, phenomenal. Fails on May 29th. June 30th, he has the bounce back start. June 9th, he looks good. June 14th, he is spectacular. What we don't know about at this point is that they're having issues with the pregnancy. And they decide right around this time that Faye must come early. Must come very early. So June 21st, he allows 9 earned runs in 1 2/3. We didn't know that he'd been at the hospital for what they're calling family medical emergencies throughout this time. They make the decision that Faye has to come early, and he doesn't start now between June 21st and July 2nd. Now, let's talk about Faye. It's good news. Faye's going to be great. His wife, Jessica, is doing great. Everything is fine. She's just, it's a premature birth, 7 weeks early. And, she's in an incubator and everything's going to be fine. She's going to be healthy and they have nothing to worry about. But I don't know what's going through his head. I don't know what's going through his wife Jessica's head. I don't know any of this. He's going back and forth off the family medical emergency list, and so he doesn't pitch from June 21st to July 2nd. He comes back and he goes 2 innings. He allows 3 earned runs. Those 2 starts, June 21st and July 2nd, how many strikeouts did he throw? Did he pitch in those 2 starts? Fucking zilch. Nil. 0 strikeouts over those 2 starts. He's not pitching. He's not in his rhythm. He can't be backed. He can't be backed. Now, maybe if he was listed and we knew he was going to go, because that was 10 days rest he had before in his last start. Maybe he's like ready to go. I'm back in my rhythm. I'm back in my routine. But I don't know. We don't have that information. So what has happened to Kolek is this. He had a 2.68 ERA in June 18th. In just 2 appearances, he's a 4.50 ERA now. He's being touched. Let's talk about who he's going up against. Christian Scott, 2-1, 3.49 ERA, 1.35 WHIP, 4.76 expected ERA. You guys know I'm a big Christian Scott believer. I thought he was going to be a beast when he came up in 2024. He showed us a glimpse of that. Then he had Tommy John surgery in 2025. Comes back in 2026. He's an emotional guy. He cares very, very much. You know what Sharpie was saying about Shane McClanahan. I think he would say similar things about Christian Scott. Rod's Wax says, bet on Stephen Kolek and road starts on the run line versus an NL team with the on-base percentage of 325 or worse. Kolek's team record in the 2025 season, 9-0. Says average score of these games on Kolek's team, 5.6. Opponents, 1.7. I mean, I just, under the circumstances, these are pretty crazy circumstances, but they're important angles here. But under the circumstances that Kolek is dealing with, I'm not jumping at the opportunity to back him. So let's talk about Christian Scott. Christian Scott comes up. Now, when we saw Christian Scott coming up, he walked the bases loaded immediately. It was a funny start. He was emoting, screaming in his glove. He only lasted an inning and a third in that one. And then the next start, he went 5 innings, allowed 2 earned runs. Then he started feeling it. Then he started getting it. 1 earned run, 2 earned runs, 3 earned runs. No earned runs on May 24th. He's pitching very, very well right now. And then last start, he gets touched up June 11th at home versus Cardinals for 4 earned runs and 3 jacks. He had not allowed a home run since May 1st. He had gone 6 straight starts without allowing a home run. Then he allows 3. Spooner says Kolek is a ground ball guy. Even if he pitches well, you still have to trust Kansas City's Little League level infielders. So he allows 3 home runs. And what happens? He goes right on the IL with a hip impingement. He didn't have a rehab start, simulated game. He comes out and he doesn't pitch very well. 4 1/3, 2 earned runs, 6 Ks, 2 walks. That was at home versus Phillies. Now he has consecutive starts. Yes, the Royals are raking. Yes, they are. But it's not really against righties. Over the last 30 days, the Royals are 248, 735 OPS. Both bullpens are trash. We saw that in tonight's game. Is the game over now? 35 runs were scored now. I want Christian Scott tomorrow. Let's see if everything correlates here. We have okay, here we go. We don't even have this game up. This game is not available because I guess we're waiting for Kolek to be announced in. Sharpie says, I've talked bad matchup metric-wise for Scott last week. This is even worse. He's in the zone too much with worse than league average. Worse than league average zone contact and chase contact versus the Royals. Elite zone contact and chase contact here. There we go. So here we go. Let's keep rolling here. But I do want to say a couple more things. I'm going to copy and paste what Sharpie wrote about my guy, Christian Scott here. I feel like Christian Scott is going to pitch really well here, but that is something that I'm going to have to look into. So I've copied it and pasted it. And Nicholas Handy say Royals are hot as hell. They are. Look, they're still 17 games under 500. But yeah, they're hitting the ball. I've copied and pasted Sharpie's thought process or, expectation of Christian Scott here. What I want to do is back Christian Scott and fade Stephen Kolek. We'll see when the lines come out. We'll see if everything's confirmed, and we'll go from there. Next spot on the board here, 7:40 p.m. Eastern, Boston Red Sox, Chicago White Sox. I've been taking a long time with these breakdowns. I just love it. This is just what I want to do, is talk baseball for hours. But we are trying to keep these shows shorter than my old shows. So let me see. We're trying to speed up a little bit. And shout out to Swiggy on the ones and twos. We're in Rate Field in Chicago, Illinois, plus 7% runs, plus 11% homers, plus 1% doubles and triples, and plus 1% singles. We have the young lefty Jake Bennett going up against Davis Martin here. Let's talk about Jake Bennett to get things started. 3-3, 3.10 ERA, 0.98 whips, got a 2.83 expected ERA. In AAA Worcester, he was a beast. 9 starts, 1.60 ERA, 1.02 whip, 2.82 expected ERA. Second round pick in the 2022 draft by the Nationals out of the University of Oklahoma. I really like the kid. His first start, very good at home versus the Astros. Now, we know now that the Astros can't hit lefties. We didn't know then. A lot of us have a vividness bias of Yordan Alvarez and the Astros destroying lefties. Then Bennett gets touched up for 2 starts in a row. The May 7th start, he gets touched up. He gets sent down to the minors. He comes back June 10th. He gets touched up again. Then he starts getting more comfortable. 3-0 loss at home versus the Jays, 2 earned runs over 5 1/3. Then he doesn't allow a run in 6 innings in the thin air of Colorado. And then he shoves against the rival, the Yankees here. Hey, Michael, if it's not a baseball talk, we're going to bounce you. Focus on baseball, please, if you don't mind. Happy to have you in the chat. Let's focus on capping here. Then July 30th, his last start, 2 earned runs over 7 2/3. He goes 7 2/3 in a 5-2 win at the Angels. I cashed the full game under. I did lose the first 3 under. Let's talk about Davis Martin. 9-3, 3.08 ERA, 1.26 whip. It's got a 4.05 expected ERA. The last time we saw Davis Martin, he did not look good. And there have been a couple starts here where he hasn't looked good. This guy was shoving and shoving and shoving. He was spectacular. And you can see by the splits, he's unhittable at home, and he has struggled on the road. I'm starting to struggle trusting this here. I really am. I really am. Robert Cherry, thank you for the very kind words, my man. It means a ton to me, and I love capping with you guys so much. It gives my life direction and purpose. So I guess what we should do is just not care about these bad starts. The first bad start he had was May 22nd. It was at San Francisco in Oracle Park, 4 earned runs over 5 2/3. Comes right home and shoves against the Twins. Then the next start, again at the Twins in Minnesota. So sees Twins back-to-back starts, allows 6 earned runs, 10 hits, and 4 2/3. Start after that, shuts down the Braves, no earned runs over 6 innings. Then he goes back on the road at the Yankees, 9 earned runs and 3 jacks over 3 1/3. Then he shuts down the Tigers on the road. Then he comes home and shuts down the Royals. And then that start against the Guardians, he did not look good in it. But I guess what we should do is just put a line through all of this. You know, look, we've been talking about how we need to send Woo a gift basket. Is Davis Martin giving us similar statistics? I'm just missing it. Maybe he is. Maybe I should shut up and just be thankful that Davis Martin is shoving at home and getting lit up on the road, because Brian Wu has become our favorite pitcher. Maybe I'm just thick-headed, not noticing that this is a gift, not a curse. White Sox bullpen, 3.63 ERA, 1.39 whip over the last 30 days. Red Sox bullpen struggled over the last little while, which is surprising. It's so good all year, 4.54 ERA, 1.35 whip. And then all of a sudden, we once talked about this White Sox team against lefties, that it doesn't matter if it's Sandy Koufax on the mound. We back the White Sox and fade any left-handed pitcher. Look at what the White Sox are doing against lefties now. 223, 667 OPS over the last 30 days. They're not hitting him at all. Look at the Red Sox versus righties. Exact same thing. Now, remember in our White Sox-Red Sox breakdown yesterday, there was a capper in the chat who he was saying they're saying that Schultz is vulnerable, and that capper was right. I got his name. I'm so close to it, but I know I'll butcher it. But he was right. But I thought the elephant in the room was the fact that the Red Sox are destroying lefties and the White Sox aren't. And you could pause and say we're both right, or however you want to deem that spot here. Sharpie says it was really bad weather last week in Cleveland with a heat index of 97 for Martin's last game. Spooner says White Sox have fallen off a cliff for lefties. The under feels so easy. Do other people trust Bennett? I trust Bennett. I trust that these sticks aren't hitting. I kind of like these bullpens, even though they've been a little disappointing of late. So, and we already talked about what Rate Field is tomorrow, plus 7% runs. So it's not isn't a real problem. So let's get into the line history. Let's get into the line history here for Martin Bennett. We've had no move towards the White Sox sitting here at my. Oh, no, we have the move. This move happened 22 minutes ago. A slight move towards the Red Sox from plus 113 to plus 110. Now, we talked about it today. I think that the models have a real difficult time deciphering when a pitcher is horrific on the road and incredible at home. I think they just, for whatever reason, they look at a sample size of a year-long sample size. They don't, when the pitcher's on the road, they don't cut out all of the home starts. Maybe they should. Let's get into the total here for this one. We have an 8. This one opened up 7.5, juice to the over, and now it's an 8. Is there much of a difference over 7.5 minus 125 and an 8 at minus 110? The answer is no. If this was a minus 105 to the over, we'd say no, there's no difference at all. So it's a slight move to the over. A slight move to the over. Huh. I think I get involved in this. Let's take a look at the price difference here. Price difference, full game, first 5, Red Sox, White Sox. We have the Red Sox at plus 107, full game, and first 5 plus 107. White Sox are minus 118, full game, and first 5 minus 125. 7 cents of movement over there. Now Flush says he has this as an under game. And Sharpie says, I've noticed in props, the books do not pay attention to home road splits at all. It's uncanny. I don't want to get too caught up in saying, oh, we have an advantage over it, but it certainly feels like the advanced model. Well, I don't want to talk about advanced models. What do I know about them? But it certainly feels like some of the models don't decipher between, home and road splits. So I agree with you guys. So let's play a guessing game that we often play that we haven't played very much here. We have an 8 minus 110 each way. Then this should be a 2.5 minus 120 each way. Should be simple. Because it's an 8, not an 8.5, it could be a minus 125 to the under and a minus 115 to the over. The book shouldn't tip their hand at this point. If they do, that means sharps have already gotten to it. And we know that these first 3 lines have just come out. So let's see what we're dealing with. First 3 minus 125 to the under 2.5. That's where it should be. Where it should be. Well, I really like Jake Bennett. I think he's a really good pitcher. But I think I've just been a thick-headed numbskull, as my dad would call me, a numbskull. I should have realized earlier that it's not just Brian Wu. Now, Brian Wu might be the greatest, but it's also Davis Martin. Davis Martin. Huh. Well, I would like the first 3 under and the full game under. But I would like to see a move towards the under. What does Penny have this total at? They have it at 8 minus 108 to the under. Huh. I'm going to need to sit with this. I mean, that's a big investment to double up there. I'm going to need to sit with it. Rod says, bet on Chad Tracy in road games on the money line against AL Central opponents. Tracy's record as manager of Boston is 9-1. Robert Cherry says, White Sox is dark horse of the league this season. Nobody had a clue they would be good in so long. We need sharps on the White Sox and the public to buy on the Red Sox by morning for the line flip. Sharpie says, when I like the dog pitcher in a game, I'll take first 5 team total under because I get the 2.5 as the dog. Dipweed is good. I got schmuck. His Aaron says first 3 under. Yeah. God, Davis Martin did not look good in that last start at all. But I think, Sharpie has a point with the heat. Huh. Why would this have gone up from a 7.5 to an 8? Let's just take a quick look here at what went down today. Because, none of the Red Sox high leverage arms were used, or White Sox, we would imagine. But a lot of pitchers were, the Coulomb, Whitlock. So those were nice pitchers for Red Sox. But none of them for the White Sox. Why would this have gone up? I need to understand why. Now, it's only gone up very slightly. But why? I might need to sit with this a little bit longer. I imagine that this is going to move to the first 3 under. I imagine it will. So it's sitting here minus 125. I imagine it's at least minus 135 come morning time. So I'm gonna need more time. Spooner says every bullpen arm available for both teams. I mean, if this was a flat 7.5 right now, I would love it. So the fact that Nate just gives me some pause, and I will handle that. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board, Cleveland Guardians, Minnesota Twins. I can't wait to talk about this baseball game. If you like the Foster Griffin edge, first 5, full game in the Nets, you're going to be forced to bet this one. You're going to be forced to. Wow, Sharpie seeing an 8.5 out there? Okay, well, yeah, we're going to need to pause on that Red Sox game. Let's go. Target Field, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's get into the conditions. Plus 6% runs, minus 2% homers, plus 7% doubles and triples, and plus 4% singles. We have Slade Ciccone on the hill going up against Connor Prelip. Now, you guys know I am a Slade Ciccone fan. I was a Connor Prelip believer for a little bit, and I can't wait to talk about Prelip. But I believe in Slade Ciccone. 4.44 ERA, 1.40 whip, 4.51 expected ERA. He hasn't been very good this year, and he wasn't that good last year. And the Guardians, the Rays and the Guardians, they're the brain trusts that we really believe in, and we believe in their thought process around pitchers. And they gave up a lot to get Ciccone from the Diamondbacks, and he was okay last year. He had a nice whip, 1.19 whip over 132 innings. And he has been pretty mediocre this year. He went through a run. Well, he had a terrible first start of the season. They were just losing all of his starts. How many did they lose? So they lose the first 6. His first 6 starts they lose, and then they win 4 in a row of his starts, and he starts looking better at times. Still pretty mediocre, and then the calendar switches to June, and he starts pitching very well. 1 earned run over 6 innings, 2-1 loss of the Yankees on June 4th. June 9th, 2 earned runs over 5 innings. As back-to-back starts against the Yankees. Then Tuesday, June 16th, 1 earned run over 5 2/3 at the Brewers. And then June 21st, 2 earned runs over 6 innings at the Astros. Nice starts. Doesn't allow a run over 6 innings at home versus the Mariners. And then he has the start up against Davis Martin when they both did not look very good. And we could talk about the issues with the Heat that start last week in Cleveland. And shout out to our guy Wham Bam 3000, Wham Bam 3030, and Who Bangin' Nation in the house. So let's roll into this here. I think that Slade Ciccone is pitching well. But let's talk about Connor Prelip. So what do we know about Connor Prelip? 2 Tommy Johns already. Never pitched more than 88 innings in any spot in his entire career. So they are concerned about his innings. Shout out to my guy Jerry Davis in the house. Jerry, we need you. We are always stronger when Jerry Davis is rocking with us. So Prelip, 4.96 ERA, 1.38 whip, 4.08 expected ERA. We started backing him immediately when he came up. And some spots that really worked for us and some didn't. A lot did, though. And the market was moving towards him in a lot of spots, and he was getting us paid. So he had his first career start April 22nd. So we go through his first 5 starts. He looks really strong and looked like he was getting stronger with each start. So that first start, 2 earned runs over 4 innings. Next start at home versus the Mariners, 2 earned runs over 5 innings. The next start at home versus the Blue Jays, 2 earned runs over 5 innings. Then at the Guardians, 1 earned run over 5 innings. Then at the at home versus the Brewers, 1 earned run over 6 innings. Starts pitching really well. Then, I don't know, is it fatigue? What is the issue here with Prelip? He's never pitched more than 80 innings. He starts getting touched. May 22nd, 5 earned runs over 4 innings at the Red Sox. May 27th, 6 earned runs over 4 1/3 versus the White Sox at Chicago at Wright Field. Then on Tuesday, June 2nd, 4 earned runs over 6 innings. No bounce back. Home versus the Royals, 2 earned runs over 4 1/3. Then 4 earned runs over 6 at home versus the Cardinals. Then 3 earned runs, but 6 in total, but 3 were earned in a 9-5 loss at Arizona. And then last start, he pitches well at home on June 28th. So June 28th was his last start. June 28th. So it's been a while. So I wanted to know why. And they said it's a cautious approach. Tommy John surgery, UCL repair. His high in any season is 83.2 innings. I thought it was 88, but it's 83.2. So he's rested. Is he out of his rhythm? Is this going to help him? This is what we were talking about with Mark Staszowski. So what do I know? I know at this point that Slade Cicconi's pitching well, and Prelip is on extra rest, is coming off to, well, one good start. The Guardians can't hit lefties. There's no team worse against lefties in Major League Baseball right now than the Cleveland Guardians. 164, 508 OPS. Then you combine that with the Twins versus righties. No team is hitting righties as hard as the Minnesota Twins. 300, 899 OPS. Now, you could look at what's gone on in the last little while, last 5 games, last 10 games, but I still prefer the 30-game sample size for me. I do. So let's take a look here at, and we know the Twins bullpen's trash. Guardians bullpen has a very high whip right now, which is a surprise. Twins bullpen's been a lot better of late. So is the Guardians finally after constant hiccups. So let's get into the line history, and then you'll see why I love this spot so much. We have no movement on the total. It's an 8.5 minus 117 to the under. And then on the money line here, we have no movement, sitting here at minus 130. Then we go to the price difference. First 5 and full game. And this is where it's clear. We know the angle. We know that nobody's hitting righties harder than the Twins, and nobody's hitting lefties worse than the Guardians. And that's the difference in this ball game. The Twins are minus 128 full game here at Penny, and first 5 minus 140. Now you could say it's only a 12-cent difference. Minus 140? The Twinkies are minus 140 at home, a game under 500 at home. They're very expensive. And I want it. First 5 minus a half, a plus 100. I think that there will be volatility here, and I don't need to spend on the money line. Minus 140 is sort of my limit. I guess really it's like a minus 136, minus 137. I don't want to go higher than that. So I took the first 5 minus half plus 100. No vig, no problem. I like Slade Ciccone, but I want the Twins bats. I have such a huge advantage with the sticks here. Simple. Twins first 5 minus half. Now, it's not as big as the difference for Foster Griffin first 5 in full game. But it's big enough for me. So Jerry Davis will be on Larnach, and Bell hits, runs, and RBIs. His Aaron looking at the first 3 under. You know what? We could take a look at what that number is for you, because we've gotten pretty good at judging things based upon what the numbers are. So let's take a look here. The first 3, where are we here? Sorry, the first 3 in Prelip, Ciccone. It might not. Oh yeah, that's up. Okay, so the first. Sorry. Let's take a look at the. So the full game is an 8.5, juice to the under. So this should probably be like a minus 110 to the over. Excuse me. It should be minus 130 to the over and a minus 110, or it should be a minus 135 to the over and minus 105 to the under. So anything off of that would be interesting. And it's just a pick 'em minus 120 each way. If you are interested in the first 3 under, I'm not though. I'm not. I just want the Twins. I think that's the advantage. But as we've seen from Ciccone's last few road starts have been pretty good. I'm not against it. Okay, you know what? I'll add the first 3 under as something I'm going to keep looking at. Yeah, I'm not against it. I think that's a pretty strong sign. What does Penny have the first 5 at here? The first 5 total? 4.5 juice to the over. I don't like that. I mean, I guess you would expect that with an 8.5, but I don't really like that. I'm going to put question marks there. I don't know if I get there. But the Twins first 5 minus half, I've already bet a plus 100. Let's roll on. Next up, 7:45 p.m. Eastern, Milwaukee Brewers, St. Louis Cardinals. We're at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri, where the Cardinals are 23-21 at home. The Brewers 26-15 on the road. Now, that doesn't include the double dip today, so obviously the records have changed. Busch Stadium is minus 7% runs, minus 13% homers, plus 1% doubles and triples, and plus 1% singles. We have the lefty Kyle Harrison on the bump here, 8-1, 2.82 ERA, 1.08 WHIP, 2.99 expected ERA. I knew about Kyle Harrison long before he came up to the show because of Nut Flush Allen. He was very, very excited. Kyle Harrison was the number 1 pitching prospect in Major League Baseball coming into at the end of the 2023 season, coming into the 2024 season. And then he just didn't have it. but they should have given him more time. Both the Giants and the Red Sox are at fault for not trusting somebody who was this highly thought of. We have the Jerry Davis looking at the under in this one. Kyle Harrison was pitching out of his mind, just so consistent, so good. And then what happens? I back him on Friday, July 3rd. Now, if you remember the situation on Friday, July 3rd, he was going up against Jose Cabrera. And if you remember, in that spot, Jose Cabrera was, and the Diamondbacks were plus 140 full game, and they were plus 122 first five. We don't know much about Jose Cabrera, and he's on the card today. It was his, I believe, third start of his career. And it's not like he's an enormously highly thought of prospect. So that difference was interesting. I moved on the first 3 under, and I moved on the first 5 under. Well, it was 3-3 after 5 innings. I did know, though, and this was a bet that was almost fully predicated, almost completely on market, that why was Cabrera so much more expensive first 5 than the great Kyle Harrison? It didn't make any sense. So I bet the Diamondbacks first 5 plus a half, and I cashed it. Spooner says St. Louis used to average 40,000 fans. It was Yankees, Dodgers, and Cards trading the attendance lead. They had 20,000 fans last game. There is no home field advantage here. Let's talk about who will be on the bump for these guys. So he ended up, Harrison went 2 2/3, allowed 3 runs, looked bad. It's a nice bounce back opportunity for him. We have Michael McGreevy on the other hand, 17 starts this year, 11 quality starts. We thought he was going to pitch game 2 of the double dip, so we've talked a lot about him. We know the elephant in the room is his expected ERA. We talk about it every time he starts. 5.60 expected ERA. You know, Spooner, it's funny that I'd love to cheer for this team. This team battles. This team fights for it. You know, but they're not spending money, and it pisses people off. But this is an easy team to cheer for. If the thing about me is I dislike every team. I basically dislike every team in every sport, except for the Canucks. I don't even really like the Blue Jays that much. I just hate every team. I want every team to lose. And that's what happens when you're a Canucks fan and all you know is losing. I just want everybody to lose. Not everybody, but every team. Can you believe that I just said I don't even really like the Jays that much? I don't care. I was an Expos fan. But I live here and the city's been good to me and whatever. Let's get back to business here. Spooner says, McGreevy is my favorite Cards pitcher. He struggles with lefties, though, and Brewers have the ability to stack them. Let's talk about McGreevy. Just consistent. So consistent. Now, he's had a couple bad starts, and 5 earned runs over 4 innings, May 26th at the Brewers. The Brewers. And that's who he's facing here. The only other bad start, 5 earned runs or 5 innings at the Royals. What do the Brewers and the Royals have? Well, the Royals not as much. The Brewers just destroy righties. Brewers rating 278, 825 OPS versus righties over the last 30 days. The Cards have no power at all versus lefties, but they get on base and they can manufacture runs, but they have no power at all. Then we'll go into the bullpen. It's funny. The Brewers bullpen's starting to pitch better once again, but they had a little hiccup. It's not a big deal. A little hiccup the first couple weeks of June. They're back now. 3.83 ERA, 1.26 whip over the last 30. And the Cards bullpen's been a pleasant surprise. 4.03 ERA, 1.33 whip over the last 30, and they've been really good over the last 10 games. Let's get into the line history here because this is a game that I've not moved on. We have a 10-cent move towards Kyle Harrison, minus 123 to minus 133. Now, I imagine there are a lot of successful gamblers that just put their head down and bet the Brewers every single day. And why wouldn't they? Let's take a look at the total here for this one. From a total standpoint, we have 3 cents of movement to the over, minus 105 to minus 108. Let's take a look at the price difference. First 5 and full game and see if the books will tip their hand a little bit here. And we have the Cardinals at plus 118. Let's do the Brewers side. Brewers minus 130. First 5 minus 133. Put that in perspective. Cardinals are plus 118 full game. And first 5, they're plus 114. Where's the edge? I don't really see one. I imagine that, the Brewers will be public. I guess the edge is that 10-cent move towards the Brewers full game. I guess that's the edge. The Brewers have already got to McGreevy. So I guess that you would say, well, there is your edge. The Cardinals, so May 26th, Harrison shut down the Cardinals. And then when McGreevy got touched up, it was McGreevy versus Harrison. They went up against each other. Now, that was a long enough ago, but so I don't know if we expect a zag after a zig because it's been a long time. I think the only thing that we could trust here is we expect Harrison to bounce back, McGreevy to be okay, but he's already been touched up once by the Brewers, so they probably have confidence against him, and this line move probably makes sense. But then you have to ask yourself, was that a big enough number? The Brewers sweep the double dip, right? Here we go. The Brewers sweep the double dip easily. So the Brewers are 13 games over 500 against a team that's 500 at home. 13 games over 500 on the road against a team that's 500 at home. Was minus 123 enough? I don't have that answer right now. I mean, I don't think there's a problem with I don't even necessarily consider it lazy. But if I wanted just to stop capping and bet the Brewers, I'm sure I'd have a lot of support doing it. I'm interested in the Brewers. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board, 8:05 p.m. Eastern, and Walbert Urena Day. What a beast this young man is. Angels 36-55, 15-30 on the road at Texas Rangers, 45-45, 20-20 at home at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. Walbert Urena has been delivering, man. This guy has been delivering. He's so good. His changeup is just lights out. I mean, he's just so consistent. He's the best pitcher on the Angels by distance, in my estimation. He faced the Athletics in back-to-back starts, and the second start, the Athletics got to him. That's the only time anyone's got to him, was the second time he was facing the Athletics. He'd shut them down in Sacramento on the first start, and then they got to him on the second start. The 1-0 loss at the Mariners on Thursday, July 2nd. That Thursday, July 2nd, we went 11-2, made 4 units on that game. Had the Angels first 3 plus a half, first 5 plus a half, had the first 3 under, and the first 5 under. Cash. I love him. Top set looking at the first 3 under here. Let's talk about Mackenzie Gore, the lefty. 4.31 ERA, 1.27 whip, 3.86 expected ERA. And you can see that he's been much, much better at home than he's been on the road, and he's pitching on 6 days rest. He did deal with tightness in his back in May 18th to start. He only went 1 inning, and then he bounced back beautifully. Looked very good through 2 starts. Then he got touched up by the Cardinals. And, you know, it's sort of a home road Jekyll and Hyde situation. Last start was on the road, allowed 5 earned runs in 5 innings. Start before that was on the road, 3 earned runs over 7 innings. Remember, the Blue Jays weren't hitting lefties at all. Then he, at home, 1 earned run over 6 against the Padres. Now, they weren't hitting. Then at home, the Twins got to him. But he's probably someone we can trust at home. When we get to the bullpen, Rangers bullpen's been falling off. 4.93 ERA, 1.3 at whip. Really struggling. Looked really good there for May and then struggled in June. Angels bullpen's pitching so well all of a sudden. Now the last few games have been weak. And so they're going in opposite directions. Rangers have had a bad June, and they're pitching well last 5 games in July, obviously. And then the Angels had they came together in June out of nowhere. Remember, this was one of the worst bullpens in the league to get things started. Then we talk about the Angels versus lefties. They're not hitting them at all. 237, 692 OPS. You could say the same thing about Rangers versus righties. Very mediocre, both squads with the sticks. Sharpie says, metrics-wise, Gore and Cease are my 2 favorite K-props going tomorrow. The Angels' swing percentage is bad, but not as bad as their chase contact, which plays into Gore having a day. His Aaron is also looking at the first 3 under with top set, and Godfather says price is a lot with Texas. And Jerry Davis says probably a good Gore to win spot. So let's get right into the line history here for this one. We have no movement on the total. Minus 115 to the over, no movement. 11 runs were scored for in today's game. Lost 2 units on that first 3 and full game unders. I almost bet, again, there is luck that plays into it when you decide, what I'm talking about live betting here, because I decided not to move on that live under. And again, I wanted the live over in Philadelphia, and I didn't move. What was the final score there? Yeah, 4. I would have lost it. And the only reason why I didn't bet it was because there was 3 runs scored in the top of the third, and I was like, oh, I missed my chance. So that was very, very fortunate. It was just fortunate. So Gore sitting at minus 155. The line's not moving towards him. It's expensive. The line's not moving towards him. Let's take a look at price difference here. I think that will tell a lot of this tale. So we have an expensive 7.5, which I could be interested in going underneath. So we have the Rangers minus 154 full game. First five minus 153. And I think that, God, Walbert Arena is appealing, man. He's really, really appealing. I mean, because now we're in the price range where you can get the first three, but not first three plus a half. That would be far too expensive. But we'll get the first five plus a half. Let's see what that first three plus a half would cost here. So here we go. The first three, a plus a half. I'm sure it's ridiculous. Minus 145. It's expensive. It just feels like it's going to cash. All right, let's see what that first three total is. But let's guess first. You'd think I would have looked at it because I just looked at the first three plus half, but I didn't. So let's look. So it's 7.5 minus 115 to the over. So it should be really expensive. It should be like minus. At a minimum, it should be minus 145. And it could be minus 155 just to show how appealing it is. So let's take a look at this. First three. Wow. Minus 125. Wow. Why? Why would it only be minus 125? Why? It doesn't make any sense. The Soriano DeGrom was a similar total. Now, I know the first three under didn't cash, but that was minus 170 when we looked at it last night. Now, that was a 7. This is a 7.5 slightly juice to the over. I don't even know why that would be. This total is higher than I would expect it to be. And you have to ask yourself, why? Why is this not juiced to the under 7.5? Why would that first three under 2.5 be minus 170 last night for the game today, and this one only minus 125? If Gore isn't vulnerable, could it be Urena that is? Remember when we bet all of those unders on Friday, and we can quickly go there, and we took Urena first three plus half, first five plus half. The total was very low. It was a 7. They were telling us that there was no volatility whatsoever. Let's just look at this once more. So, maybe it wasn't it's Thursday. Sorry, it was Thursday, of course, because Friday I had a bad day. Thursday we went 11-2. So here we go. On the money line, there was a huge move towards Bryce Miller. He went from minus 190 to minus 214. Didn't concern us at all. And then from a total standpoint here, we had a 7 at minus 120. 7. This is a 7.5. Oh yeah, Johnny, I took the Argos. Double down, money line and minus 2.5. Oh yeah. Huge question marks around quarterback here. Yeah, I look forward to talking about it, but yes. Mark Sasowski said, is this the Fade Schlittler spot with Urena this time? I mean, oh wow, lines just moved. What did they do? Oh, they moved tiny. Look, I'm going to need to sit with this for longer. This is one of those spots here. Jerry says that 7.5 is a low total in Arlington. Sure, but we had a 7 today with Soriano and DeGrom, and the first three under was 45 cents more expensive. So now, again, we theorize a lot on our shows when we cap together. This tells me one thing: look at it in the morning, because in the morning, really early, 6:30 in the morning, quiet, peaceful, and you're thinking clearly. I need to. I could be overthinking all of this, but I'm gonna need time here. I don't think 7.5 is that low of a total, Jerry. in Arlington. I think that's the average total. 7.5, maybe slightly just to the over. Topset says Nerfy also in play. Urena has a sub 1.5 ERA in the first inning. Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand. So I'm just gonna put the notes here that the under 2.5 is minus 125. Why? And we'll move on and we'll hammer this again tomorrow. It's too bad. I wanted to move on that game. Let's roll 10 p.m. Eastern, Arizona Diamondbacks, San Diego Padres. Diamondbacks 17-25 on the road. Padres 23-21 at home. We're at Petco Park in San Diego, California. Minus 8% runs, minus 3% homers, minus 11% doubles and triples, and minus 7% singles. We have Jose Cabrera. It was pretty easy for me to get on Jose Cabrera with the line movement yesterday, or I should say last start on Friday, July 3rd, because again, we talked about it. He was going up against Kyle Harrison, and it was plus 140 for the Diamondbacks full game and plus 122 first five for this young kid, Cabrera. Cabrera has a 4.73 ERA, a 1.58 WHIP, 6.41 expected ERA. He had 9 starts in Amarillo in Double-A, and he looked very good down there. 3.60 ERA, 0.98 WHIP, strikeout 49 over 45 innings, only walked 11. Brought him up to AAA Reno. 3 really strong starts later, he's in the show. Only allowed 1 home run in his 3 starts in Reno, had a 1.19 WHIP. Gets to the show, gets the pitch at home, and shoves immediately against the Twins. We know what the Twins do against right-handers. They hit him hard, and he shut him down. 5 innings. Didn't walk a batter. Allowed 3 hits. Didn't allow a run. Then he went on the road. Look, it's tough, these kids pitching on the road. The Rays will attack you and attack you and attack you. 4 runs over 5 innings. Then he comes back home, but he goes up against the Brewers. I think he might like pitching here. I think he might like pitching, with some element of a marine layer in play. Let's talk about Michael King, 3.52 ERA, 1.16 whips, got a 4.56 expected ERA. Michael King was pitching at such an elite level. He started the year so strong. He had a poor start, his second start, but then after that, he just started rolling. It was, quality start after quality start after quality start. He was such a pro. He's such a pro. And then May 2nd, he gets touched up by the White Sox at home, bounces back, 1 earned run over 6 at home versus Cardinals, and 1 earned run or 5 2/3 at the Brewers. The Brewers, who are so stingy and tough to go up against. Then May 18th, doesn't allow a run over 7 innings at home versus the Dodgers. That was his pinnacle, it felt like, of his season. Then he started struggling. Sunday, May 24th, 4 earned runs over 3 2/3 at home versus the Athletics. And then May 30th, 5 earned runs over 6 innings at the Nationals. Then June 5th, 4 earned runs over 6 innings at home versus the Mets. Then June 10th, 3 earned runs over 6 2/3 and a 5-4 win at home over the Reds. Then June 16th, 3 earned runs over 4 1/3 at the Cardinals. So at that point, now he did have that good start against the Reds, but other than that, he, one quality start. He did not look good in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 starts, 7 starts, 1 good start over 7. And then last start, he looks good at the Dodgers. Maybe he just has the Dodgers number. He just doesn't look quite as strong here. Shout out to the Gorkle. He's also rocking the Argos here. And he has Spain to advance. Argos minus 2.5, Spain to advance plus 117 for the Gorkle. Godfather says Urena will face 3 right-handed hitters and 6 left-handed hitters. His strikeout to right-handed hitters, 25%. Whip 1.27, average 215 versus left-handed hitters, 22.4% K rate. Whip 1.35, average 204 at home. Gore is a little better. And Spooner says Cabrera spent all year in hitter-friendly parks in the minors. Look, I really like Cabrera. And King is not really being consistent. And the question you have to ask yourself, is he dealing with arm fatigue? Let's go to the pen. Padres pen is poor all of a sudden, not delivering. Shocking. 4.78 ERA, 1.49 whip. Diamondbacks pen, 4.26 ERA, 1.26 whip, being quite strong. And then we have the Padres hitting righties. There was a time when the Padres couldn't get any hits versus righties. All of a sudden, that's the Diamondbacks' job now. 209, 632 OPS versus righties. They just can't get any hits against righties. They're just not having power against righties. It is Ketel Marte and nobody else in that lineup, which I thought it was a pretty good lineup when the season started, but that's not being the case. So I mean, what's there to say? This is going to take quite a bit more work. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Can they lead us? Can this lead us into a situation? Let's see. Let's move over. Sorry, I'm going to have to go back to July. Where am I? Sorry. Let's go to July 8th. And let's see what we are dealing with. On the total, we had a total at 7.5, juice to the over. It's now an 8 at a pick 'em. So it's a pretty legit move to the over. And then on the money line, we have a move towards Cabrera from plus 133 to plus 122. It's just one-way traffic, 2 moves towards them. Oh, yeah, Godfather. It was a gift. We talked about it. It was just, I wish they were all that easy. Godfather. The line makes no sense. We know what to do. Fade the public, back the sky. It's just too easy. Sharpie says, King is one of those guys through his whole career, be it San Diego, New York, he always has been better at home. Let's take a look at this price difference here. Price difference, we have the Padres minus 137, full game. First 5 minus 138. So the Diamondbacks are plus 124, full game. First 5, they're plus 117. The first 5 plus halves call my name. Diamondbacks, first 5 plus a half. Yeah. Nobody really knows. I mean, obviously, there's tape on Cabrera from the minors and his few starts here, but the opposition doesn't know anything about him. That's a veteran group. Diamondbacks first 5 plus a half, going back to the Cabrera well. Let's talk about the final spot on the board. I actually had meant to bet this. I'm looking at this now. That's why there was a pause there when I was like, oh, God, I didn't bet this. And you guys know me. I want to back Ryan Feltner every chance I can get. I was a believer in Roki Sasaki. I thought we could be ahead of the curve in Roki Sasaki, but let's start with Feltner and then go into Sasaki. But we'll start with the conditions. Minus 1% runs, plus 15% homers, plus 1% doubles, triples, and minus 9% singles at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California. Let's start with Feltner, 4.27 ERA, 1.22 whip, 4.90 expected ERA. Look, I've always believed in him. And now he's finally paying me back. Now, whenever I say that, it blows up my face. I shouldn't. But he's been making me money. We barely saw him in 2025. Back injuries, shoulder injuries. 6 major league starts last year. Then to start the year, he has doesn't look good. Goes 3 innings in his first start. Second start allows 4 runs over 5 1/3. Then he allows 6 runs over 4 innings at the Padres. And then he has 2 really good starts before he's thrown on the IL. So it's it was right tricep tightness. He felt numbness in his arm and fingers, and it turned out to be right ulnar nerve inflammation. And he spent 5 weeks on the IL before he was activated. And, he came in and started shoving right away. He didn't want, I told you guys, I like Feltner. He didn't want any rehab starts. He's like, I'm ready to go right now. They said, no, you got to have rehab starts. He looked good in his rehab starts. 1 in AA, 1 in AAA. Comes into the show and shoves immediately. 6 innings, doesn't allow a run, home versus the Giants. 6 innings, 1 run at home versus the Brewers. Then he gets touched up at home versus the Cubs. And then he has some really good starts leading into this. That last start, Friday, July 3rd at home versus the Giants, 2 runs over 6 innings. Start before that at the Twins. We know what the Twins are doing versus righties. He shuts them down. 1 run over 6 innings. Let's talk about Roki Sasaki. 5.40 ERA, 1.40 whip, got a 4.77 expected ERA. And last time we saw him, he didn't look good. I thought that I was right about Sasaki. I said we could be ahead of the curve. We should back him. I even had friends that aren't in our community, in our gambling group, that said you were right about Amine Sasaki. As soon as they said that to me, and a couple guys, my friends said it to me, then Amine got lit up and Sasaki got lit up and whatever. So his last start, Sasaki 6 earned runs over 3 innings at home versus the Padres. I think he can bounce back. I don't think that's beyond the realm of possibilities that he pitches much better here. But there is something very, very important in this game. We're almost there. First, we'll get into the bullpens. Dodgers bullpen's been poor. Rockies bullpen's been bad all year. They struck. They struck. They're not very good. Neither bullpen's pitching well right now. The Rockies bullpen's pitching really well over the last 5 games, but I try not to put too much into it. The elephant in the room is that there is a team hitting harder against righties than the Dodgers, and now they're hitting harder than even the Twins. The number one team against righties right now is your Colorado Rockies. Now, a lot of their games are being played in very offensive weather, of course. But Rockies versus righties, 286, 917 OPS. That's what the Rockies are doing versus righties. They're destroying righties. Now, Sasaki could bounce back, but how do we not take advantage of the Rockies being such big dogs here? Let's take a look at the line history. We have, and this hasn't moved since I was looking at it, thank God. Thank God, because I meant to come here with it. So there was an immediate 20-cent move 30 minutes after this line was available towards the Rockies. They go from plus 210 to plus 190. And then on the total here for this one, we have the 10. There's been a 15-cent move to the under. I agree with that. These teams are hitting too hard. But I do agree with that move. Sasaki should be able to bounce back. And I kind of like that. I don't want to complicate things because I have a plan. Let's talk about the price difference first five in full game. Rockies are plus 199 full game. They're plus 174 first five, which means that you don't have to bet the first five plus a half, plus 124. It means you can bet the first five plus one, minus 103 if you want, which is a very, very appealing proposition. But that's not all. If you're this big of a dog, well, then you can bet the first three plus a half. And as much as 365 just wants to milk you, they can't do anything about this line because the Rockies are such a big dog. First three plus a half is minus 115. How do we not bet that? And then we have such a big dog, right? So, and we know this moving to the under, but you can bet a team total Rockies over 4 using the -1 calculator. But let's see what penny, that's at 365 if you needed to, but let's see what penny's hanging here for the Rockies team total. Rockies team total's got to be bet, doesn't it? Jesus, you can do the team total over 4 here at a way better price. You get the team total over here for team total over 4 like -110, -112. Yeah, this must be done here. This must be done. Jerry Davis says Rockies money line with my 2-up promo on FanDuel is the play. Yeah, I think I kind of like the under 10, which is shocking. I mean, how can you bet a team total over 4 and like the under 10? I think these teams are just hitting too hard for that. I can make that decision another time. I mean, or I could look at the first 3 under, honestly. But I kind of want Sasaki to get touched up, but what would the first 3 under be? The first 3 under is minus 125. God, I hate that I like the under because it kind of muddies this all up. What I'd like to bet, Rockies team total over 4. Feltner first 3 plus a half and first 5 plus a half. That's what I'd like to bet. And I will bet. And I shouldn't make it all convoluted because I think that Sasaki can bounce back and I like Feltner. Even though those are all well within the realm of possibilities. I'm certainly not going to see her with 5 units on the game. I think I should just keep it clean. I'm going to bet this as soon as the show is over. Rockies team total over 4. Colorado Rockies first 3 plus half and first 5 plus 1. And stay away from the unders. Unless it's just I'm just kind of forced into them. And then I got to maybe, if I did move on any unders, would that be a first 3 under? It might be because these bullpens are being so bad. You can't. There's no way this is an 11.5. If you have an 11.5 top set, you mean your numbers take you to 11.5? Because the under 11.5 is minus 186 offshore. I guess you're saying your numbers take you to the 11.5. Jerry Davis just bet the Rockies team total over 3.5 minus 125. I can get that at minus 136. Minus 125 is a nice number, Jerry. Really nice number. Maybe you're right. Maybe I should drink the juice and take the minus 136. I think you're right. I think that's a smarter way of doing it, Jerry. Okay. That is Major League Baseball here for July 8th. It's been a long show. Again, we'll be much tighter and quicker in the morning. I came with 7 bets. Toronto, San Francisco, first 3 under 1.5 plus 120. Toronto, San Francisco, first 5 under 3.5 minus 110. Orioles, first 5 minus 119. Rays, first 3 minus 140. First 5 minus 126. Nationals, first 5 minus a half minus 105. And the Twins, first 5 minus a half plus 100. You can see them all on the ticker alongside. What do I want to add here? A lot. And I love it. So Baltimore full game. Not going to take the first week, take the full game. And then I may wait on the Tigers. We have some angles from Rod Zawacki on the other side. Pittsburgh first 5. There was also angles from Rod on Grant Holmes, but I do like Jared Jones tomorrow. Rays first 3 and first 5 already been bet. Seattle first 5 minus a half. Again, I want to see what that line is, and I want to compare and contrast, make sure it's more expensive. And then we're going to wait and see if that is Chase Burns starting. Going to wait on the Christian Scott Kolek start. Then I'm going to sit with these unders in Boston Red Sox, Chicago White Sox. That's going to be tricky. Then I'm already on Minnesota first 5 minus a half. Do I want to add the first 3 under? Possibly. Then am I going to move on the Brewers? 17 to 10-cent move. I'm going to sit with that. Then that first 3 under 2.5 minus 125 does not make sense for the Angels Rangers. That game really makes me nervous and uncomfortable now. I haven't moved on. Diamondbacks first 5 plus a half. I will be on that. Godfather says I think Burns is confirmed. That's good news. And then I'm going to hammer that Rockies Dodgers game. I need it to correlate. All right, we got to go very, very quickly here through the WNBA. Thank God the sky cashed. And thank God I got the Liberty Live plus 11.5 and they covered it by a hook. That's not a good bet. When you get, that's just lucky. I got lucky on the live bet. I very, very upset that I've given some back in the WNBA, and that's got to stop. That's got to stop. So let's get to work here. We have Valkyrie and the Toronto Tempo. The Toronto Tempo, the last 2 games have been dealing with injuries in their guard play. Now, we know that Sykes is long gone, but 2 games ago, Mabry was pulled from the starting lineup, didn't play right before tip-off, and then Julie Alamand was the same thing last game. We now have no point guards. If Julie Alamand's not out there, there's no point guard. It's point guard by committee, and the Toronto Tempo just get destroyed. And it's a real problem. Now, will Alamand be able to play? I mean, we got to wait on all that. The Valkyries are they're beating teams up. They're shutting them down. They are suffocating teams with their defense, and the Mystics were the last team that was suffocated. So, and Jerry saying the Dodgers bullpen just blew up again. Wow. So, the Valkyries, I think, just should be bet. Let's go over the line history. Valkyries on this road trip have looked very good. They took out the Dream. Remember, they played the Dream 3 out of their last 4 games before they took out the Mystics. They just shut down the Mystics. And this isn't the end of a road trip. Like, look, if this was the end of a road trip, I'd be hesitant. But they go down to Connecticut after this, and then they play the Fever. So they've got lots of time in front of them. They're certainly coming together. Winners of 5 straight. Winners of 9 of their last 11. And the Tempo have serious injuries. And, you know, Mabry has to go for 50-plus for them really to win a game. They just don't have the depth as it being an expansion team. Let's take a look at the line history. This total opened up at 169.5, now at 168.5. And then on the spread, we have this still sitting at 7.5. It appears this could turn into a 7. Oh, wow, there had been movement. I didn't realize that. This opened up at 7.5, quickly went to 8.5 and to 8. Wow, that was last night. Too bad it didn't stay there because I was already on the 7.5. Then it went down to 7, back up to 8. Again, that was just 45 minutes ago. Now we're back at the 7.5. So there is some line movement. Tempo are just not a good basketball team here. Just not a good basketball team here. Sharpie says no such thing as free money, and the fact they have Cease at 6.5 on his K-prop when he has had 7 and 10 straight. Said the books know something. Interesting. So Cease, much lower K-prop than one would expect. Makes me nervous. So I moved on to Tempo. Then we have the Connecticut Sun and Minnesota Lynx going up again with each other. And the question is, of course, with Miles, Fee is back practicing, but let's pull up the WNBA injury report here. I mean, it's amazing how important the second overall pick has been to this squad. I mean, it is a. I mean, you could just see the flow. Everything was different without Miles on the floor in that loss, or the loss to Connecticut. Let's take a look and see if there's an expectation for Miles to be back in the lineup. I don't think there is, because we've already seen a huge move towards Connecticut, and Olivia Miles is a game time decision. Fee is still out. So we need to see if Olivia is going to be in. We've seen this massive, massive move towards the Connecticut Sun, which told me that Olivia Miles was not going to play. But maybe there's more to that. This opened up with Connecticut plus 10.5 now, plus 7. So a big, big move towards Connecticut. Obviously, Minnesota, an angry group after taking it right in the drink hole in that first meeting just 2 days ago. And then, as I said, this total is up a point from 168.5 to 167.5. I haven't moved on it. Now, I could be dealing with a cognitive bias. I was very angry with my cap on the Sparks, and I moved on Golden State minus 7.5, and I also moved on the Fever minus 5.5. Indiana Fever, Sparks. The Sparks without Kelsey Plum are an absolute joke. They had 9 days off to practice and put together a game plan and have an idea of how they were going to, attack a weak Seattle Storm team, and they got annihilated. Like the Fever, are probably going to overlook them. That is an issue and a concern, even though the Fever aren't playing very good ball. We're getting close to the WNBA All-Star break as well. I got the 5.5. Told you guys all about it. It's now a 6.5. This opened up at 5.5, moved to 6.5, back down to 5.5 tonight. Wow, I didn't know that. And then we're right back at 6.5, and it looks like a 7 may be appearing. We also have cash flow on these games, so I'm going to hit this cash flow, and then we'll put a bow on the proceedings. And I will see you guys in 9 hours and 45 minutes for the morning bag. We will have Mr. Jose Bouquet with us, and it'll just be tight, very, very tight, different type of show. Of course, leading into the daily sesh with Dabby Cab and Dutch Boy Fresh. Okay, so here we go. WNBA, we have in the Toronto game, this is insane to me, and I'm sure it will change, but 90% of the tickets and 87% of cash on the Toronto tempo. I'm astonished. 93-92 on the over. In the Connecticut game, 90% of tickets, 93% of cash on Connecticut. And then here we have bigger bets coming in on the Sparks. Look, I thought the Sparks were sharp. I really did against the Storm. I thought it was the right move. I sold it to myself, I guess. I'm on the Fever minus 5.5. This team is just dreadful without Kelsey Plum out there. That is our show for the beautiful sports card that awaits us on Wednesday, July 8th. Thank you guys so much for running with us. Jerry Davis, Sharpie, The Godfather, Mark Stasowski, Topset, The Gorkle, Spooner, Johnny Yim. Thank you guys so much. Johnny Bender, His Airness 93. Thank you guys so much for running with us. Rod Zawacki, thank you for your insights. Robert Cherry, my man. All of you guys, thank you so much for supporting our show. It means a ton. Nutflush Allen, thank you guys. Thank you, Godfather, my man. Let's go out there and succeed. Let's go out there and win. You get out of life what you put into it, and we're working our hardest here to find the edges, find the angles, build our bankroll, and succeed. We succeeded tonight. Let's succeed tomorrow. On behalf of all of us, Pub Sports Radio, thank you guys for supporting us. Let's go get this money, man. Let's go get this money. Leche! Hey, los bookmakers.